Come on now. You didn't think I would leave you hanging for the draft before the 49ers made their picks? Of course not. My son had a football game, so came in a little bit late. Got my guy Marco with me. I think I'm going to have Rohan and David joining us. Here we go. David's backstage. We'll let him get ready. And yeah, the 49ers should be picking here in the next 30 minutes or so, 40 minutes. So get geared up, get ready to go. Marco, you're going to have to catch me up on what's going on with this draft, man. I'm not going to play the intro like I normally would. Let's just get right into it. Let's talk draft. There we go. We got Rohan here. What's up, Rohan?
Oh, no.
I know. Sorry, bro. Sorry. It is what it is. What's up, David?
I thought you said
Look at him. Look at you getting frozen out. You deserve that. That's what you get for talking crap. Look at him. He's so nervous.
his internet's been kind of spotty, man. Like even on our show, he got cut and everything because of his internet. Shout out to everyone from Last Second Sports, man. Appreciate every single one of you guys for tuning in. Thank you for Jesse for doing a combined show tonight. Appreciate you, man. This draft is kind of crazy, man. Will Levis goes to Titans. Sidney Brown goes to the Eagles. The Eagles are killing it. The Detroit Lions just took Hendon Hooker. A couple of guys have been gone way too early. Drew Scruggs just went to the Texans.
Bro,
David's going crazy.
Raiders just took Byron Young from Alabama, and I said this. I said, don't be surprised when the Byron Young from Alabama goes before the Byron Young from Tennessee. I love this kid. I remember I was texting you guys. It's like I started watching. I was like, dude, this guy's he's another way. He's like 24 years old. I said, I don't care. Like at the third round where he was gonna go, this dude is a stud. An absolute
all these
stud.
Guys are older. We got to remember the COVID year. Like this is what happens. But
yes.
Hey, David, I got to get your opinion on this real quick.
Sure.
So as soon as I got home, it's about 30 minutes ago, get home, getting ready to put my kids to bed, whatever. And I tweet out, please let Sidney Brown fall to the 49ers. And who drafts Sidney Brown but the Philadelphia Eagles?
Yep.
I mean, seriously, can this team do anything wrong in this draft? I just, I'm so frustrated with it.
It's a simple philosophy. Draft good players. And I know that sounds crazy. It's a crapshoot. I think like when you stop saying like stop drafting for need, just stop at all. Because we were talking, well, what position do we trade up for? What? Honestly, man, don't trade up for a position. Like just go. And I know not always the best player on your board is going to be the best player. It's a crapshoot. I hear all that. I think if the more that you really truly say BPA and then a melding, if it's equal, then you like. I still don't say like they're both equal. Is anybody really ever both equal? Take the best player, period. And I think the Eagles do a really good job of that. And they build strength. They take a strength. They don't mind drafting on a strength. Like you saw, the defensive line just keeps getting better, right? The secondary keeps getting better, right? Like they're just not afraid to go that way. And so Kendre Miller, there's my running back. Go to the Saints. That's my guy. That was my guy. All my guys are like gone now, almost.
All my guys.
They were supposed to be for me only.
Yeah.
I'm surprised. So they take a running back. I mean, obviously, Kamara is probably going to get suspended, right? So,
yeah. Kendre Miller's a good. I think Kendre Miller has just as good of a chance. You know, you talked about Zach Charbonnet. You talk about obviously Bijan Robinson, Jahmyr Gibbs. Don't be surprised when Kendre Miller is a guy that's getting a lot of production. All you fantasy dynasty leaguers, I think he goes higher than people might expect.
Yeah. Yeah, you're Monza. I know. I did first thing I get home. I'm like, oh my gosh, he's still around. Let me tweet it out. We need him, and then he gets picked by the Eagles because
so don't say anything.
Eagles do is draft good players.
Again. Don't do that again. Don't say you want anyone else again for the rest of the night. That's the player we want, right? But
Giants just traded up.
The player I'm shocked is still there. Two players, Darnell Washington and Keely Ringo.
Marco, it was reported earlier today Washington has some medical concerns that people are worried about.
Yeah, I heard that, but it's like with the medical concerns is the athlete's there. Like we're at the range where you take a gamble on a player.
Right.
Yeah, but
Albert Hainsworth equals Jalen Carter. Man, if they if it's like the good Albert Hainsworth, that's scary.
Maybe it's the good and the bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If it's if it's good when he's young, it's going to be scary for the next 4 years or so. So the Giants traded up, and so the Rams get picked 73, 89, and 128. So there we go.
Wow. Okay. How much did they trade up? 16
I
spots?
mean, what pick are we on right now? 7.
72 for the Cardinals.
Or 72.
So what
Cardinals
they?
haven't
Oh,
picked
never
yet.
mind. Yeah, never mind. They traded 73 for 89 and 128.
Got it.
There we go.
And the
Okay.
Giants took who?
English
big
is
trade.
tough.
Pretty
It's hard
big
for-
trade. Pretty bold.
I haven't seen the Cardinals pick yet at 72. So
No, Cardinals traded, I thought, to the Giants.
No.
no.
Somebody else traded. Cardinals are 72. They're one pick before. They haven't picked in a long time because they had BJ at like 40
Tabular was in the draft all night last night on the second channel, and he was Will Levis standboying it out. And yes, your guy got picked finally. Cards picked Garrett Williams.
That's a good pick. Good corner.
Okay.
Solid.
That's that guy. That's the guy again. Had injury concerns in the past, but like would have gone much higher if not for those. We talked about that. I know in the last several weeks would not have been opposed to the Niners taking a roll of the dice on that at the bottom of 3.
Right now, would you guys trade up for Keely Ringo right now?
I'd trade up for Jair Brown. I don't know.
You
about
like
Ringo
Jair?
right now. I think
I
don't know if I'd trade up because there's a lot of safeties. I think that I still think there's value with.
I'll tell you right now, guys. I'm at that point where if you haven't traded up already, I'm honestly just I'm at that point where I didn't think they'd stay put. At this point, there's no 4th round picks. Why not try to figure out a way to maybe get rid of a future pick, move up a 5th round to get in the 4th? I just stay at 99, 101, and 102. I just feel like value. There's a lot of value right now. And do you really get a compromise? I mean, honestly, what would they have to do as long as if they moved up right now, would they have to they wouldn't be giving up 99 and 101 to move up. They'd be giving up 99 and something so as long as they don't
99 in a future 4
or something in a 5th, possibly. I mean, when you're trading within the 3rd round, I don't think the capital to move up is that much. But
Dawan Jones is still available.
Dawan Jones is still available.
He's a big boy. I don't know if he necessarily fits what the 49ers want to do, but sometimes you just got to draft a player.
So this is what I think the Niners should do. Keep all 3 picks right now.
Yes.
You haven't there's a lot of guys that are falling, right? So you want a tight end? Keep it.
Yep.
Keep the pick. Tucker Kraft's still there. He's
but
gonna fall.
Do you think if one of the tight ends goes that you would trade up to make sure you get Tucker Kraft?
Yeah.
Let's say Washington goes.
If he
Washington
goes, then
goes,
you trade up to get Kraft.
You got to trade up to get Tucker Kraft.
Giants have selected Jalen Hyatt, wide receiver, Tennessee.
Damn. Okay. I thought they'd go down.
And that was a team that was looking to say, hey, could they have been drafted receiver back in the 1st round? They go for the big speedster. They go for the guy who can stretch the field. Cedric Tillman, another guy from Tennessee, who I think a lot of people had ranked either right below or a little bit above Hyatt. He's still around 2. Josh Downs is still there, but again, there's a guy right there. I'll tell you this. I think Josh Downs is I thought Josh Downs had every bit as much of a right as any of those receivers. Like, I know you guys might disagree, but Jordan Addison, Zay Flowers, not so much Quentin Johnson. I was higher than the most, but I can't remember the receiver went right both in that run of 4. But as far as Jordan Addison and Zay Flowers, I thought Josh Downs had just as much a right to be a guy that could have the talent to go in the 1st round. And I have Josh Downs. I like Josh Downs more than Zay Flowers. So that'd be a guy that I'd be very comfortable taking, but I don't think you need to trade up.
I would not mind at all receiver. Like, if we stay put with all 3 picks, you take safety, you take tight end, you take receiver. Would not mind those 3.
What about safety, tackle, tight end?
Well, here's the thing with tackle. I think at this point, I think at this point with the tackles that are left, I have a firm belief that if the Niners really were saying we got to move up and go get our tackle, I think they probably could have figured out a way to do that. And I think what this is showing is that doesn't mean they're not going to draft tackle. Whoever they're drafting, though, there's no way in hell that they're expecting them to man that spot week one. I know in the way the Niners go with this, I'd just be really surprised with that. I hope it's Wanya Morris.
Fair.
That's the guy I like. I know a lot of the guys like Nick Saldiveri is a guy that has utility along the line. What'd you say?
No, I was just gonna ask so everybody real quick, go around. Let's say all three tackles are left, Jones, Freeland, and Morris. I know you want Morris. Who would you want, Marco?
Absolutely, Wanya Morris. He's been one of my draft crushes from the beginning. If they get him, I'd be ecstatic, like absolutely ecstatic.
Okay. What about
We've
you,
talked
Rohan?
about Wanya Morris for a long time. Like
Back to back.
I remember when
Sorry.
Go for it.
No, I was just saying back to back Tennessee receivers.
Yeah, Cedric Tillman.
Oh, Tillman went? Okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
Marco, I just pulled up our text. February 6th is when we really when we started talking about Wanya Morris, man. And that was that day I watched this film. That was my guy. Yeah, so Morris it is if he's there.
Hey, are we gonna get David drinking out of the bottle by the end of the night like last time?
Oh, dude, he was there. It is. He was hilarious last night. He was definitely. I mean, he wasn't gone, but he was having fun last night for sure.
Bro, I wasn't the liquor talking, man. That's just me.
That's just me.
Hanging out in the basement, moving up to the living room. I got my whole family out of the house tonight. They're down the street at our neighbors that we always go over there for Friday night for dinner, and it's like they just clear this out. I just locked the deadbolt. They're gonna they just sleep outside in the Subaru. I don't care.
Monza says with 3 picks coming, might as well stand pat. I mean, I tend to agree.
I'm actually stoked for this at this point. People were talking. Somebody said, "Oh, I saw the teal. This is the most boring draft ever." I'm more pumped now because I thought for sure they were gonna have to trade up, and I was worried a little bit about that. I was worried that they're like, "Oh, here's my guy. I got to go get my golden helmet guy." And I think at this point, it's like just stay there. Just stay there and go. And I think you're gonna get some guys that are gonna be some dudes here. So let's see. And I like that these Tillman and receivers going here is great because I don't mind if they draft a receiver, but right now that's just pushing down some of these other premium positions that they can choose from. So odds are some of our favorites are going to be right there.
What happened to that Northwestern defensive tackle? I don't want to say his name. We're not going to try to say his name, but
he's still there.
A Doubleware?
Yeah,
he's still there.
He's still there.
You're people were talking about he's a for sure first rounder. I never saw it. I saw a very small defensive tackle. And I think that's what the NFL sees. He's a 6'2 guy, 260, isn't crazy long. It's supposed to be a defensive end, but it plays better inside. That weight is going to be thrown around inside. So a lot of players still there. Someone's probably going to take him soon. Zach Harrison's still there.
No, Harrison's gone. Oh, wait,
Zach
Harrison's still there. No,
Zach Harrison's still there.
Bro, I'm taking Adebawore. If honestly, I'm taking flyer on traits in the 3rd round, and this dude is a freak. He's a freak, and you got to trust that Chris Kasura can get the most out of the guys. And I think this is where I think Byron Young, Adebawore, I mean, you take one of those guys, man. Gets cooking with gas. Like I was saying last night, that's what I mean. I know DJ, Daniel Jeremiah was talking about this guy the other day. I'm shocked that he's fallen this far. And you start to wonder, are there medical red flags? These guys get dinged for things that we don't always see and don't get talked about. We don't know.
Marco. No, not Marco. Rohan, sell me on Jair Brown.
I mean, to me, you talk about traits, might not be he's not the fastest, right? But I like his what do you call it? Like what Hufanga has, that short area burst. I like his short area burst. I think he's a good instinctive player. He's not too big, 200 pounds, but he's a willing guy in the run game. He's willing to hit, and I think his instincts fit well in the run game. He's also another guy who, in my opinion, has solid ball skills. And so to me, you talk about a guy who's willing in the run game, a guy who can fit the run well, can be a little more versatile. and play either in the box or in the back end. And even though he doesn't have the best speed, I think he's a solid candidate, especially a guy who seems, in a way, similar to a prospect like Talanoa Hufanga.
Okay. All right. Does anybody like Jordan Battle or no?
I do.
Marco does.
Okay. Sell me on Jordan Battle.
Jordan Battle, in my opinion, is a guy that, if you look at him, he was, in my opinion, up there with the Brian Branches and the Sidney Browns. When you're looking at him, rating a very versatile defensive back, mainly a safety. IQ is extremely, like, it's one of the, in my opinion, IQ wise, safe for all the safeties, he has the best IQ. Very fluid. He's physical when he tackles you. Now, his only concern for me is man-to-man coverage. I wouldn't expect the 49ers to put him in man-to-man. If you're going to have Huff as your strong safety and him as your free safety, you're looking at him to be that deep guy who reads the field and breaks fast. Big size, 6'1", 210. So you don't have to worry about him getting injured playing that free safety or strong safety role, which is very interchangeable with the 49ers. Now, everyone's probably like, oh, well, he can't play in the nickel. That's what the Niners love to do. Well, you drafted a lot of nickel guys. You have Isaiah Oliver. You just have Demo, Womack. Make one of those guys be your main nickel guy and have him be your free safety. To me, that would be a great pick if they decided to go battle on one of those 3 picks.
Okay. I'm fine with either one, but I mean, damn, you think Battle really matches up some of those names? Okay, I'm intrigued.
Yeah, IQ wise, he's up there. So if he would have came out last year, he goes way higher.
I think he goes way higher. Yeah,
he goes way higher. This year he goes a little back because they were so deep at the defensive back room, and he didn't have to do as much for Alabama. So Brian Branch was there. They had a bunch of other guys in the safety room, cornerback room. He wasn't asked to do as much from Nick Saban. Now that he goes to a team where he's going to be asked to do everything, I think he'll go back to what he was last year.
Who did the Falcons take?
Falcons take Zach Harrison. What a hell of a pick. That was one of my favorite defensive ends in this class.
Zach Harrison?
Yep, that's a stud. You want athlete? That's a damn athlete. Like, that guy, for his size, should not be running as fast as he does.
To me, Rams just take Byron Young.
Did they really?
Damn. Okay. Good
Tennessee.
pick. Good pick.
Both Byrons gone.
Wait, did they flip-flop with the Patriots?
Rams traded. No, the Patriots picked, and I don't know who the Patriots pick is, but the Rams are right behind them. Okay. I think Connor Hughes is just reporting it before that it's been reported, but the Rams have selected Byron Young. Yes, I don't know who the Pat's pick is, but we'll see what that looks like here.
Probably a receiver that will never play.
Marte Mapu, there he is. He's gone. Sac State. The guy that people were high on, the guy, the safety linebacker hybrid, right? He is Mr. Utility. Patriots. I like Mapu a lot. He was one of my guys. I was hoping. I kept mocking him at 102. I just think he's one of those dudes that's going to have a lot of success, and the Swiss Army knife kind of do that positionless shit that they love. So that's a great pick.
What do you guys think about the Titans moving up and getting Levis? What did you guys think of that? Make sense?
Love it.
Yeah.
You loved it?
Yeah.
For
solid,
Levis,
solid
I'm talking about the Mapu pick.
No. I know. I was asking about Levis though. When they moved up today and picked Will Levis,
I don't mind it. Like in the second round, if you're taking a gamble, I did think the package that they gave up was a little much, and I think Arizona played it well, because when Pittsburgh didn't pick, there's going to be a lot of suitors for that 33. They traded a lot, but if you're talking about the player itself, I don't mind taking a flyer on him there in the second round and getting a guy who can essentially sit 1 year behind Tannehill and be your guy next year.
Yeah, I'll say this. I'm not going to sit here and aside from, I still think what the Lions did. I think the Lions have drafted decent players. We can disagree or agree on what they did in the first round, but by and large, I try not to just absolutely dump on everybody. But Levis is not a guy that I mean, I didn't have as a first round grade on Levis. I couldn't. The only reason I'd mocked him is because I thought that's where he would go. I don't know trading up. I get drafting a quarterback, and if you're bad, I think the Titans I think the Titans expect to be a bad
Packers
team.
just took Tucker Kraft.
Yeah.
And so here they go. And now wait a minute. Didn't they take Musgrave too?
I like
They
what they're
took
doing.
Musgrave and Kraft.
Build around Jordan Love. I love what they're doing. You give
Dude,
him tight ends, a receiver to go with Christian Watson. Do something they didn't want to do for Aaron Rodgers. Give him actual weapons. I love it.
I did too. And this
Now, do we see a trade up for Darnell?
Look, I don't even know at this point that people are. I think there must be serious concerns at this point. And I will say this. Sorry, I got my family coming in the door, but lost my train of thought. I think at this point, look what the Packers did with the tight ends. Strengthened. They said Musgrave and Kraft. They weren't afraid. They didn't sit there. Oh, we already drafted a tight end. That means we can't do it again. It's like, why? They're cheap. They're young. In that offense, you're going to be using two tight end sets. They're also not identical players, but they're both athletic. Kraft's more of the blocker. Musgrave can kind of do the guy that's going down the seam like that. I don't know, man. The Packers.
It's not bad.
I told you last night they went 8-9 last year. I think they don't. I think they improved their record. That's my prediction. I don't think they go backwards. I think they can be a 9-8 team, and that's good enough to get maybe in. You never know. Slide into the 7th seed. You never know.
Hey, David, hop out and come back in. Your mic's starting to pop.
So with the Niners coming up, obviously 20 picks away around in that range. 97, obviously, or 90 or 99 and 101 and then 102. What I think they really, really might end up doing right now, you got 2 tackles on the board. If one of those tackles go, Blake Freeland or Wanya Morris, they're trading up getting the other. I don't think they go into the season with McKivitz being their right tackle. To me,
what about Daewon Jones? Zero shot at day one, huh?
It doesn't make sense. 374 and Kyle's system.
What happened?
Josh Downs. You got my mic? Is my mic okay now?
Yeah.
Josh Downs goes to the
Downs
Colts.
gone? Indiana?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. So that's 79. There's 20 picks. 20 picks to the Niners. And now you're starting to get that. I mean, it is what it is, right? Good players are going to get drafted.
Hey, good pick. Good pick.
But I'm gonna go back to the Marte Mapu pick. The reason why I love that, okay, the kid could have transferred to another university and played ball, a bigger D1 school, gotten more shine. Instead, stays at Sac State, a very small D1 school in the Mountain West, I believe, or Big Sky, or whatever they're in. Doesn't get invited to the Combine, but got invited to the Senior Bowl. Makes noise at the Senior Bowl and goes in the 3rd round. That's a hell of a story. I love it.
And the other part about Marte Mapu, he goes to Patriots. And when we talk about the Patriots, they have Kyle Duggar. They were able to develop him. Similar player, a guy who's a safety who ended up being a linebacker hybrid type of player, guy who plays in the box. It's a good fit for a team that really is able to utilize certain players like that.
I'm trying to look at who the 5th best running back is and preparing for the 49ers to select him.
Why you gotta do that to us, man?
It's Israel Abinaconda out of Pittsburgh. So
Hey,
I'm mocking him. I'm mocking him
99.
99 of the 49ers.
I'm telling you,
he could go.
Be
if
careful.
If him or Devon Achane, I wouldn't be mad.
I'm just saying, man. He likes these like Trey Sermon TDP guys. Don't be shocked when you're looking at Tank Bigsby. I'm just saying, don't be shocked when you hear this name. I just like honestly, you got to take. It gets to the point now where you're looking at some of these guys. And you're like, Devin Oshane's good though. Like I like Devin Oshane. Roshan Johnson is a guy who would have got more run if he wasn't. And as a guy who's a 3-down back who you can trust as a blocker, Kyle likes that. I know you're kind of halfway joking, Jesse, but I'm not.
I'm just saying.
I
cooking.
The difference between, I honestly, dude, at this point in the draft, You're drafting at the end of third. Like Marco said, these are compensatory thirds. These are 4th round picks in the past. Okay. I mean, so like if you're talented, and you got 3 of them down there, you want to spend one on a running back? Cool. Like
Watch the
I'm
Eagles
at that.
come up. Watch them come up for Darnell.
Yeah, hey, that's the other thing we got to talk about. I know that nobody here thought it was going to happen, but I mean, we can pretty much safely say that Trey Lance is going to remain a 49er at this point.
Nope, they're trading him for a 5th.
Right.
No, yeah, I think that's clear. And I obviously I'm a huge Trey Lance supporter. I think that for many different reasons, but also this team can't keep quarterbacks healthy. So what would it make sense to trade away? The only thing that I was concerned about is, if they really, no matter what Trey Lance does, if they really are going to say we're giving the ball to Brock Purdy at that point, and that's the thing they the future. I don't know if that's true, right? If it is, will they look back on it though and say, where will Trey Lance's value be? If Trey Lance plays himself in a position where he's the starter and he stays the starter, that's great. And so I think as Niners fans, you just got to be pumped that he's got that chance to go into training camp and see what happens. But it's what's going to be interesting to me is if the Niners draft a quarterback and they don't wait until the 7th round or something like that to do it. And then all of a sudden, what do you bring into camp? That guy, Trey, and Sam Darnold. And something's got to give. And, it's like, especially if you draft them higher than you think. So, yeah, if they draft a quarterback in the 3rd round, that changes it up. But they're not going to do that.
I don't think so either, but never know. But I think Darnold could be cut. I mean, everybody says there's no way, but you look at the money he's being paid with the inflation of the cap, it's basically the same thing as cutting Sudfeld last year. Like, it's not that big of a deal.
I agree, but I don't see that happening.
If they draft a quarterback, what else is going to happen? Here's the way that I could see it playing out. You start Purdy on the pup. You have your 3 quarterbacks. And then when Purdy comes back week 4, you assess, obviously, who's, Trey or Purdy. And then if it's not Trey, maybe you trade him at that point. If he's got some value, I don't know.
I hate that Jed York just tweeted. So apparently there is a draft going on. Who knew it started today or yesterday? Are they okay in the front office? Are they alive? Did they make it to today? I mean, I'm kind of concerned now.
Oh, man. If I see another picture of those guys all like sitting around like the what do they call those countertops?
Panthers just drafted Oregon linebacker DJ Johnson.
Edge, yeah.
They traded up for him.
I remember Jordan was talking to me. I was talking to him the other day, and he was like, "DJ Johnson's going to go higher than people think," and here he is. And I had him as hoping he was the guy that might fall into the 5th round and be a guy that the Niners could take. And obviously, you can't hope that. This is the thing. I think at this point, you stop. You can't get with who's going to take who. You just take your guy. Go take him.
It was interesting because DJ Johnson, one of the guys with Zach Harrison that I actually sent to, why'd I blank out? To Jordan when he was at the NFL Combine. I sent him a long list of players that he needs to keep his eye for. And he was one of the guys. That guy could get after the quarterback. Think about Hassan Reddick with the Philadelphia Eagles. That's the exact role he should be playing. Go after the quarterback. Don't care about stopping the run for him. Go get the quarterback. That is exactly what he'll do. Good edge rusher. A little bit older, but good edge rusher.
Yeah, what do you guys think? I mean, AG brings up a really good point. DTR did have multiple visits with the 49ers. What do you guys think of that?
In the 3rd round?
Just
look, bottom line is this. They have a plan for where they're drafting the quarterback. And if they're it's not, it could surprise us, but they're not going to sit here and be like, if they want to draft one of these guys, they probably have an idea of where they're going to need to do it. And I don't know if you don't draft a quarterback here, you're going to have to trade up to get them into the 4th, because I think a lot of these guys have seen what you've been able to do with these other guys. I'm actually kind of surprised. I mean, there hasn't been a lot of depth there after this, but I think you're going to see a little bit of a run. and everybody try to recreate Brock Purdy, recreate like, get lightning in a bottle and like try to see like what you can do with these guys that are the underdog, so to speak. But I don't think you're going to be able to get them in the 5th round. I really don't.
Yeah.
I want to ask a question here. Tight end. If Washington goes before 99, do you think tight end is still in play in the 3rd round, or do you think the 49ers wait with the next group of tight ends?
Yeah, I would wait for the next group of tight ends because if you look at it, you got the next tight end off the board should probably be Cameron Latu, Payne Durham, Josh Wiley, and Will Mallory.
I assume Kuntz goes early too with those with the athletic profile.
I mean, athletic. So the thing is he's athletic, but his tape shows us a slow, very slow tight end. Like his tape doesn't match his testing stuff. So like when you're watching it, it's like.
You know what happened to Marco? I think the beam just got lit on him. Kings are up 13 with 2 minutes left in the 3rd quarter.
Right. Beam.
Oh, there he is.
Beam got. Oh, sorry, man.
And he's gone.
Yeah, he's just a beam just incinerated him. Yep.
Yeah.
Just like got probed by the beam.
Yeah, it happens. It happens.
Davis Allen is a tight end that I think, but like again, now I just honestly, guys, this is the thing. We talked about trading up for position. I just don't see. I don't see that. Like I think that you're at this point where you're going to get who you get, and they weren't aggressive. There was this idea that the rumblings that they were going to be aggressive about trading up. They ended up not doing that, and maybe they do at this point, but we're now where? What pick are we on now? 81. I mean, it's not like they can't do it, and it probably wouldn't cost hardly anything to do it at this point, but. Yep.
Who just got taken?
My feed is going slow with these guys reporting.
Yeah,
these
mine
picks,
too.
So I don't know what's going on with. I think that they're. I think some of the insiders are like, I don't even care at this point.
I feel like it
They
too.
just
I feel like they've
be
given up.
dropping whatever. Got to mute everything on Twitter.
All right.
Tennessee, right? This is Tennessee's pick.
Yeah, Tennessee's pick. They're
I
going to take
wouldn't
a
be
second
shocked if
quarterback.
Tennessee goes tight end.
Huh?
I wouldn't be shocked if Tennessee goes tight end.
You think so?
Yeah, they could.
Have
they
they taken a
gave up
tackle
Johnny.
yet? Have they taken a tackle?
They took Skoronski at 11.
Tajay Spears.
Tajay Spears?
Spears, interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
They go running back.
Yeah, I'm going to tell you right now.
Hey,
I like
Rand
Rand
brought third round running backs to Tennessee with them.
Is Rand calling all the shots in Tennessee? I don't know exactly how that organization works. Like is he got the green light to do whatever he wants, or is this like kind of this, committee work? And how involved is the owner?
Him and Vrabel, probably, because Vrabel is Vrabel, so probably has a good amount of.
I'm not. I might be one of those guys that gets hissed at right now. I'm not a Mike Vrabel fan. I think that the Titans last year were one of those teams that all year long their record did not match. They get one of the luckiest teams in the NFL is by almost every reputable metric. They're not a good team, and they're a team that's going to be in the running for the number 1 pick. I really firmly believe that. And I don't know. Like I just don't think and Peter Schrager is going insane right now. I don't know that was disturbing. I don't know. I don't know. I just saw Peter Schrager. He was kind of losing his shit, and he looked like a bobblehead for a second there. I don't know what was going on. But I think what we are right now at pick 82, and we're 17 picks away. If I'm looking at my best available board, if you guys have your boards in front of you, I don't know if you've got, it's like you kind of start doing the math of who can be available. What are you comfortable with? So let me run some players by you guys.
Okay.
That might not be perfect players, but
Yaya just went to the Bucks.
There's Yaya.
Damn. Okay. There he goes.
So let me run some players by you guys that might not be perfect players. I'm doing this intentionally.
I gotta go. That ruins my entire draft board. Gotta go.
Yeah.
Oh no.
Okay, so Antonio Johnson, safety out of Texas A&M. I think he's a better athlete than what he tested. I don't know what was going on. His testing was not good. I thought what he showed on tape was like a much more athletic. Like Marco just got them talking about Zach Kuntz, who like tested out of the gym, but yet didn't see that translate necessarily on film. I feel like Antonio Johnson, when I looked at his RAS score, I was like, that's not. I don't know, man. I don't think I saw that player in college. I feel like maybe I was wrong, right? But I can see that being a guy that can have some utility with the Niners. I don't know. What do you think?
The Broncos just traded up with Seattle.
Okay,
So they're on the
Ooh,
clock.
who are they going? Is that another D end after?
this could be Washington. This could be Darnell Washington right here.
But they just drafted Dolchik, so they don't need a tight end.
I know, but Dulcich is a different dude.
I was thinking this could be a Delaware, but this could be tight end. I was thinking of Delaware though. Here,
I don't think anybody's reporting picks at this point.
No, I see him. I saw the Broncos traded up. That's how I knew the Broncos traded up. Pelissero, if you're not following him.
Yeah, but no, they just report them as they go. I don't think anybody reports them early anymore. Is what he's saying.
What if they pair Certain with Keely Ringo?
That's what I was just gonna say.
I think it's Darnell. I think it's Darnell Washington. That's what I'm gonna say. But yeah, I mean, I was gonna say, what do you guys think about Antonio Johnson, safety out of Texas A&M?
He could be. He's a Jimmy Ward type of guy. He's one of the guys that can fit that role.
I'll be 100% honest. I had a very high second round grade on him.
Really?
Yeah.
I text Javi early in the draft process.
Are you saying on Antonio Johnson?
I thought he was originally. I thought he was a very high first rounder before I scouted him, before I did all the work. Think about Derwin James. So this is what you see on film when you watch Derwin James coming to college. Derwin James with a mixture of Marshawn Lattimore in the sense that he could go play corner, he could play safety. He is legit. I don't get why he's falling. I thought he was a lot to go in the first.
His testing wasn't good.
If this testing people are overlooking it happens every year.
No, but that's what he said. You said, I wonder why he's falling, and he tested as a mediocre athlete. He's not a mediocre athlete on the field.
We are 17 picks away.
Yeah, no, I remember you, Marco, last September, we were talking about you were talking about that one position the Niners thought that they're missing, that whole long term was safety. And this was back when it was like, it's Jesse Bates or things like that. And I remember you really believed strongly that they were positioning themselves for next year in the draft. And I remember you talking about a couple of guys who you thought would have been first, that they might move up to get into the first round or to get a couple guys. And I want to say that Antonio Johnson was one of those guys. And I can't remember who else it may have been, but I'm almost positive Antonio Johnson out of Texas A&M was one of those guys.
Are you saying of his safeties? Like he had a couple of safeties?
Couple safeties, Marco. Do you remember that from last September, August?
I think I remember this because you texted. I know you told me you thought Antonio Johnson, like way back, was a top
it was
25 player in the class.
It was right after I was on the phone with you because I had just done Vikings camp and I'd done a show with Grant 2 nights in a row, and I'm walking around St. Paul, and I remember talking about you thinking you felt pretty strongly that was a position that they could have seen themselves possibly moving up for.
Broncos took Riley Moss, corner out of Iowa.
I just got a text, Marco, from August 25th of last year. You talked about Brian Branch, Antonio Johnson, and a couple of other players that you thought could be first-round grades in this class.
Yep. I remember that.
And you said this safety class is one of the deepest you've seen.
Well, this safety is extremely deep. Like it's one of the.
Yeah.
You get this safety class. Honestly, there probably should have been 2 to 3 safeties going in the first round. Any other draft, they're going in the first round.
It's funny.
Weird.
Well, safety's
you said Derwin James, right?
Who?
You said Derwin James is the comp?
My comp was a mixture of Derwin James and Marshawn Lattimore in the sense of he could do everything.
Oh,
I
by the
have
way,
that text right here.
Look, honestly,
hey, I got
That's
the text
so
right.
funny.
I got the text in my mind. You know,
I know.
Hey, I want to just
Oh.
say Tom Pelissero from Minnesota, by the way, Minnesota native, Eden Prairie, cake eating Minnesota native Tom Pelissero, the Adam Banks of sports reporting. Go Hawks, go Ducks. Emilio Estevez of sports reporting. Denver traded up for Iowa cornerback Riley Moss, the rare white cornerback. I'm like, bro, like that's your tweet? Like that. Jason's
They gave up though. They gave up a solid amount. They gave up in a 2024 third.
Now that's interesting because Denver a couple of years back was Ojemudia out of Iowa as well.
Right.
And so they've Devin Ashane goes to the Dolphins. That is so we are getting there now. We have 15 picks left till the Niners go in there 3 out of 4 picks. This is getting kind of exciting. Look, I want to say this. I've been liking Antonio Johnson was a guy who I mocked at the end of 3 and was like, well, yeah, I know his testing and maybe I'm not, maybe I shouldn't be trusting my eye on this, but I was like, I like him as a player. I can see the Niners trusting that too. And everything that I've read, you know how coaches always glowingly talk about guys. He's one of those dudes that every time I'm reading what coaches and scouts have talked about, or coaches that people have been affiliated with that team, they're like, this dude is a leader. This dude is legit. This dude I can depend on to do anything. Like Marco said, I can line them up all over the field. And at this point in the draft, I think that would be an incredible selection.
Hey, what if the Niners came away? What would you guys say if the Niners came away with Keely Ringo, Antonio Johnson, and Wanya Morris?
Perfect. And I saw you just tweeted that. I like that. I'm all on board for that. I don't think all 3 of those guys are going to be there at that point.
No, I don't either.
With the top corner on the board, one of the top safeties, and I mean our consensus top tackle. Wow.
Yeah, no,
that would be something different.
This is where I'm actually, if I'm going to trade up at this point, I'm probably trading up to try and, see if I can secure that tackle. I think Wanya Morris. I know you got Blake Freeland. Wanya Morris to me is the only tackle that I like.
Just went 85 to Chargers.
And that's a guy I know, Marco. That's a guy that a lot of people thought was going to go. I remember back in the combine, or people pre-combine were talking about, oh, Deion Henley is going to go like high second round, and here he is near slipping to the bottom of the third. So
good value.
Yeah, but I think what you said about safeties, Marco, like all you guys, like safeties and linebacker, which is why I thought Jack Campbell, like they're positions that they're valued when you're elite, but like when contract times come around and free agency, what do we see at safety every single year, right? Unless you're Derwin, unless you're like, Hall of Fame caliber guy, you wait for the money, right? Like you have to wait. You don't get paid. You see what happened to Chauncey Gardner-Johnson. You see what happened to this happens all the time. And I think sometimes in the draft, we're starting to see that too. So
49ers are going to take a running back and a quarterback, so it doesn't matter.
I'm good. I ain't got a freak, man.
Hey,
honestly,
I'm all on board.
You know what's funny though is we literally said that last year, and then they took TDP, and we lost our minds.
I didn't say I was cool with it. I didn't say
we're like we trust the 49ers.
I did not.
Hold on, let me replay this real quick.
Lowest grades I ever gave to a player.
Let me replay this real quick. Before the picks, we're like, you know what? We trust the Niners. It's their 6th time doing it. We're good. Whatever they take, we're fine with. TDP. We're like, what the hell are they doing?
Who are you talking about? Universal we? I did not say that. I panned that when it happened. I panned Trey Sermon when it happened. I was with Marco that year. I was like, now granted, I didn't pan Aaron Banks. I said, I'm a reserve judgment. I like what I see, but I was like a little bit like, are we really doing this? And then sure enough, it was a red shirt. So whenever you red shirt a guy, it gives you a little pause, right? You're like, oh, Abanaconda. Yeah. Look, what I want, if you're drafting a running back, I want a guy with juice. At this point, I don't want some guy that you just can't I want a guy that can I want a guy that has something a little bit special and so, and not a guy that you're going to sit here and just be like your the Trey Sermon TDP model. I just don't want to see that there.
You remember what had to happen last year? Marco had to call in and try to talk us down from the ledge, and Marco didn't work. PIVC says, came in late. Anyone have an idea what the CMC restructure means? They need the money to sign these draft picks. I think that's number one. And this was a restructure that I talked about very early into the offseason that was eventually going to happen. I mean, I think all the restructures that I talked about have happened at this point. I said CMC, that happened. I said Ward was on the fringe. That happened. Who else did they restructure? Warner?
Yeah, that was the three.
Yeah.
Warner said that would happen, and then it was the Bosa extension. So
what if they're extending Ayuk? I mean, I've been saying like I said you trade Ayuk if you don't plan on paying him. Well, what if they plan on paying him? You know, like what if they're trying to line that up before it gets, like, is that really, could that happen?
Yeah. Hey, we didn't complain about the Purdy pick here. We were celebrating. I'll tell you that
Bro,
right now.
I went on a drunken
sent a tweet
rant
out right away. David sent a tweet out right away. We like the
Liar.
Purdy pick here.
I was on
Stop
space with Chris. Roscoe's. Love
Did you say we're
Roscoe's.
lying, Marco?
They're the only, honestly, you guys are the only guys that I remember saying you guys like that pick.
Yeah,
I know. We got pressed for
look
it
at
too.
my pinned tweet. My pinned tweet is Brock Purdy with Larry David's head, and it's pretty good. And it was like, that's like, and I was wasted. It was my crowning achievement, and I was just like,
oh, Niners traded up.
No, they
Niners
didn't.
No
just
way.
traded up.
No.
We were on
No
the
way.
clock.
Oh, yes, they
We're
are.
on the clock.
Welcome to the draft,
Whoa.
49ers. We are on the clock.
Oh,
Let's go.
here's
We're on
Wanya
the
Morris.
clock. Who do we go? Who do we go?
Now, who the Ravens select here? Who do they select? Yep,
Get
Pelissero.
Keely Ringo?
So we traded up with the Vikings, yeah?
Okay. Kawesi. We trade up with our guy.
Was it? Or did we trade up with the Ravens?
No, we probably. Ooh.
I
They
think we might
I
have
traded
traded
assume
up.
the Vikings.
No, the Ravens selected. The Ravens are selecting right now.
Yeah. The Ravens were like way on the. They took Trenton Simpson, so we're on the clock at 87.
The 49ers
what did we trade?
have traded Trey Lance to the Minnesota Vikings. I'm joking.
No, we
No,
didn't.
hey,
Holy cow.
that ain't funny. That ain't funny.
The Vikings would
I
be
got
the team that would
Warriors
want
game
him
on.
too.
I
That's
can't
the
see
funny
that
part.
Right now.
Trenton Simpson, linebacker, brilliant. They weren't taking a linebacker. Okay, here we go. So
I wonder who's ahead of us or right behind us, because we had
Did they
to
jump?
have leaped.
That's the question.
I'm gonna check.
Yeah.
I'm gonna check the trade tracker.
We jumped ahead of the
Keely Ringo?
Jaguars.
Come on, Keely Ringo, please.
Here, hold up. I'm gonna check the trade value. I don't think they gave up one. They
I'd
did not
assume
give up. They
four,
did
right?
not. They
Four
well,
next year?
they have.
Hold on. Shh.
They have not changed the draft tracker yet. So
Oh.
I don't know. They still have them at 99. I can't believe that's true. They have 99, 10. Oh, no, they did. They traded with the Vikings from 102 to 99.
Okay.
Well, hold on.
Yeah.
What did they give up?
I don't know. They gave up 102.
Okay.
I'd
To
say
get up to
102
90
in 2024 fourth is what I'd assume.
So they still have 99 and 101. So they just yes. They did not have to give up another additional third. So I'm that's great.
Nor
Okay,
should they
that's
have
fine.
to move up.
I think this is Wanya
Third
Morris.
spot.
Two.
I think this is Wanya Morris from Oklahoma. That's what I'm going to say.
I'm trying to see these teams right behind them. Who needs a tackle?
Who?
The
I mean,
Rams go tackle.
People draft tackles that could be projects, that could be swings, that need some development. And like this is I think that if they know here, this could be Darnell Washington, or it's going to be Wanya Morris. Yeah,
I think I could see it because
here's
Cincinnati is on the board here, and they were projected to take a tackle. They're on the board in like 4 picks, so you could be jumping Cincinnati here.
49ers took Jair Brown.
okay. There it is.
Oh.
That's a great
Sick.
pick.
Okay, my guy.
That's a good
There we
pick.
go.
That's someone that
And there-
everyone's happy with. It's a good pick. Good safety, that could start. Good pick.
Now you guys. Now what's your thoughts on Jair Brown? Like as far as like how you compared him to a guy like Antonio Johnson. Give me a comparison here.
So if we're gonna be talking about
Different
Jair
player.
Brown, completely different player, like Rohan just said. Let me actually pull his report up that I have for him. I'm not gonna just speak in without having his. I would have taken him later in a little bit later. I think he would have fell to the 49ers. Why could I not find his report? Rohan, if you want, you can start talking now on him. I'm looking for his report I have on him.
Yeah. So I mean, we talked a little bit about the two profiles, right? Jair Brown, not the athlete that Antonio Johnson is, despite whatever the testing might have said, but he's got the short area quickness. I see him more as, if you want to make a 49ers comparison, I see Jair Brown more as a guy like Talanoa Hufanga, while I see Antonio Johnson more as a guy like Jimmy Ward, a guy who could play a big nickel, a guy who could be a little more versatile in that role. But Brown, like I said, big thing, really solid in the run game, in my opinion. Solid instincts, solid in the run game. He's able to fit well. He's not afraid to be a hard hitter. He's a solid player in that aspect, and I think that's important, obviously, for the 49ers. And overall, even though you might not be amazed by his 40 time, I think that short area quickness and the tendency, or really the ability to play make, is also valuable enough where he can suit in the back end. The 49ers like to have their safeties with versatile roles. You see Hufanga creep up in the box. You see cover one rotating to cover three. You see it's a lot of different movement in the back end. Jair Brown, I think, fits in well with that.
I disagree with this right here. Chalk Talks. I said, I've been saying for weeks now that safety is the biggest need for the 49ers, and I love this pick.
We just talked about it, though, right? We just said that Mark, we talked about how last year the Niners looked at that was the one position they were willing to move up for. Now, granted, they didn't get into the first because they didn't have the picks, but like, who did they move up for? Safety. The question is like, and I'm not saying this is not me playing dumb. This is more for like a conversation here. Is there any redundancy, like with this?
Hey,
like,
real
how
quick,
do you
package 49ers gave up 102, 164, their second, fifth rounder, and 222. So they gave up a third, a fifth, and a seventh to move up.
Yep.
Yeah, that's fine because you're not drafting 11 guys. So I'm not
totally fine with that. They keep all their thirds. I'm good with that.
Yep. And so you're saying that they go ahead.
No, go. You're good. My bad.
My question was, is there redundancy here? Like you said that he's a different let's compare him to Talanoa Hufanga like more directly. Like what parts of their games a lot? What?
They're different players in the sense of Jair Brown could actually play more of the free safety role. He has that straight line to explosive speed to get sideline to sideline. His production is there. The more of a ball hawk in the sense of he's going to produce interceptions. He has 10 interceptions in the last 2 years. Now, when you're looking at him, his tackling isn't the greatest, but he's a safety, and we're not asking him to be that Hufanga tackler around the line of scrimmage. He's going to be in the back end, covering the deep safety in that eraser role. His temperament, very calm when he plays.
He is similar in the fact that they're both really aggressive, I'll say. Like
does he have the athletic ability to be the eraser consistently at the NFL level?
I believe so.
I think even though
he ran a 4.6 speed, his 40 was a 4.6. I think his play speed was a lot faster than 4.6. Mm-hmm. So I do think he has that range. However, when Rohan did say he is like Huff in the sense of being aggressive, he's smart aggressive. Huff is aggressive and it doesn't. He just goes right. Well, Brown, what he does is he's very aggressive, but he's smart. He knows when to jump routes. He knows when to he knows the IQ of the game in the sense of route recognition. So he jumps with a purpose and not just jumping out crazily because he recognizes, hey, that was a slant. Let me jump it, right? He understands the game.
Yep.
Take Bigsby went to Jacksonville. I want to bring this up. Trock, listen, I respect. Listen, if you have a different opinion, I respect it. I think all of us here strongly disagree. I think Gibson, you're relying on a 33-year-old safety who happened to have his best year at 32 years old. That is most likely not repeatable.
No.
And if for some reason you have a safety go down, which chances are both players at safety are not going to play all 17 games, they have literally no depth. There's nobody behind them that is worth a damn. So now you get Jair Brown, even if he sits for most of the year and is a special teams guy, maybe plays sparingly, then now you've got a future safety that you basically redshirted. I think to me, he is more important, or that position was more important than anything that the 49ers needed. And I've been saying it for weeks. So based off of what you guys were saying, Jair Brown is a good pick. I know who Jair Brown is. I'm not saying if it's a great pick or not. I'll watch film on him. But I love the positional pick for sure.
Yeah, I think that good teams don't wait till you have to have that player. And I think the Niners weren't even in a position where they could do that with the capital anyway. They were drafting at the bottom of the third. And I'm with you. Tayshaun Gibson, I mean, I'm not trying to slander but we can talk objectively. I don't think you have to preface like this isn't slander. No, Tayshaun Gibson is going to have some regression. And Tayshaun Gibson, he had all these turnovers and he's always had turnovers. Yeah. Maybe some guys do have a knack of being in the right place at the right time. But a lot of Tayshaun Gibson's picks last year were absolute gimmies. He almost had 3, but from David Blau, 2 of them were just like, Jaquaski Tart, center field pop-ups, except they caught him. I need to go back and watch too. I hope this is a guy. I mean, I hope he's not just sitting there though, as a 3rd round pick. Not getting run. I'd like to see a guy that's in here that's able to be able to make an impact right away.
Well, I also want to say this.
I'll say real quick.
Hold on. I just want to say this real quick. Let me just say this real quick. So I would say that most people would probably say that maybe offensive tackle is the biggest position of need. Well, the 49ers trade up and get safety, which I thought was the biggest position of need. But if you disagree and think it was tackle, there's still 3 legit tackles there. One of them is going to make it to 99. And so if you need a safety and you think Jair Brown is head and shoulders above the rest, you go get him. You stay at 99. One of those 3 tackles that are all graded pretty close, you can get any one of them. And then you're still set at tackle. So I actually like it. They're playing chess and not checkers with the board if it is, in fact, a tackle that they go next.
Absolutely.
And the one thing I'll say about the pick as well is Jair Brown. I don't know exactly if this is how it'll roll out in the season. Steve Wilkes, though, has experience running that 3-3-5 back in 2019. The 49ers now have 3 safeties with 2 of them that are able to play in the box. And I think that overall, with that versatility that you could have in the back end, you might see a little more base packages where you run a little more of that 3-3-5, or not necessarily a 3-3-5, but a 4-2-5, where you have 3 safety packages and having Talanoa Hufanga come down, or maybe even Jair Brown come down and serve as maybe a 3rd linebacker in a way in the box.
Absolutely. And we still have what, 99 and 101? So we're good. Yeah. Let's see what happens.
That's the best part. They traded away the back pick, 102.
Right.
I actually tweeted out a thumbnail I had ready for the next episode, 49ers selecting. I had Jair Brown, Yaya Diaby, and Jaden Reed in that thumbnail. Nice. I really did like the Jair pick, and I wasn't expecting them to trade up for him. That was actually assuming they took all 3 picks from 99, 101, and 102. I really like the pick, actually. So when it's interesting because a lot of times we praise organizations like Philadelphia Eagles, the Patriots, for letting a guy like a veteran walk, for example, Jimmy Ward walk, and replacing them with a young player. They just did that right now. Yep. Now, is it the right player? We don't know yet until we see it fully, the process out. Now, you could like the pick, you could dislike the pick, but the process isn't complete yet. This is just part of the initial process of taking that player to replace someone, and hopefully it's the right process. Hopefully it's the right guy that could eventually lead to the 49ers having a great safety tandem with Jair Brown and Talanoa Hufanga.
Well, this is the kind of conversation I like. I also think, like, all due respect, have to think Steve Wilkes liked him. I trust it. It's okay to say, like, guys, like, just because Steve Wilkes is the new hire and he's coached D-backs, like, Kyle Shanahan, we see hey, Kyle Shanahan's smarter than all of us. I'm going to trust him. Like, yeah, I mean, that's great. And I respect that. I respect the comment. I really do. I also think that's, like, you got to be careful not to just say, like, you give the stamp of approval exclusively because some coach likes a guy, right? Like that doesn't, that's not the litmus test for how a guy shakes out in the league, So I'm excited to go back and look at him. I'm just wondering, like, you say that, like, okay, he's Hufanga, he jumps the ball with better instincts, like that are more controlled. But both guys do get their hands on the ball too, and both guys. I mean, and so it's going to be interesting to see where he fits in. Like, are they on the field at the same time? I mean, does that? I know you say he's that eraser, but is he really that eraser?
I think he can be.
Okay.
Damn, the Warriors are getting ran off their own home court, down 16.
Yeah.
4 minutes.
That's
Game 7 it is.
16-point game. Oh,
I mean, I think Steve Wilkes definitely probably was consulted on it for sure. I don't know, maybe it was his guy, maybe it wasn't, but it is something worth talking about for sure. Rick becomes a new member. Appreciate it. Okay, so hold on a second. So Trock says that, happy to
Chiefs are
disagree.
trading
Safety is
up right
not
now.
the biggest need. Pass rush covers up true safety play. I got that, but you do need a starting safety, and you're going to need one in the future. And they still have pick 99 and 101. So we'll see what they do.
And the problem is, though, yes, pass rush does cover up safety play, but when your pass rush is what the 49ers had last year, and it might not be the same as it ever was in 2019, right? That was elite pass rush. The Niners pass rush wasn't what we thought it was, right? Like, it really, when you look at the productive in the playoffs, take away Bosa and that pass rush isn't there. You need someone on the back end when you're going up against guys like DK Metcalf, Jackson Smith-Njigba, DeAndre Hopkins in your own division, Cooper Kupp. And that's just in your division. When you go outside of division, Justin Jefferson, a guy who gets open deep. So you have to have the back end secure if your pass rush isn't getting home all the time. And in the playoffs, it wasn't getting home, and the back end kind of got beat a little bit for that.
And Hargrave, they did get Hargrave too. They've definitely upgraded the pass rush. I mean, I don't think there's any doubt about that. Let's just update what's going on real quick. Overshown, inside linebacker, went to Dallas. Dorian Williams, inside linebacker, went to Buffalo. And there are 7 picks left. Kansas City's up right now, 7 picks until the 49ers draft again. And
one other notable
it'll go
name
49ers,
is
Raiders,
Turner.
49ers. Go ahead.
I love
Rowan.
the Dorian Williams pick to Buffalo. That's a hell of a pick.
Yeah, but it's also encouraging that they're going linebacker, and then the Cowboys selection is interesting here. Did you see the Cowboys selection?
No.
Who, Overshown?
Yeah, Overshown. And that, that linebacker out of Texas. Boy, yeah, I guess like it's gonna be interesting. I mean, who's going to be left here? You got Kobe Turner from the defensive tackle out of Wake, went to the Rams. So now we're 8 picks away. Looking at the board, what's best case scenario? What's best case scenario here? Do you have to go tackle here? I mean, do you have to do that?
No, I think edge and corner are bigger needs than tackle. So,
I mean, I think tackle's a big need.
Ringo is still there.
Yeah, if Ringo's still there, if Keely's still there, you could go Keely and then from Missouri. Why am I drawing a blank right now? Edge rusher from Missouri,
Isaiah McGuire.
You could go McGuire and edge there. That'd be a good pick. Unless you're looking for a speed, then you go elsewhere.
Jair Brown, we talked about like the ideas of, I know like he might have had. You see his athleticism is a little bit different on the field. Athletic profile is not great. I'm gonna be the guy. I'm gonna be that guy that just says just a little caution. Like I don't go purely on workout warriors and testing. I'm wondering, like, I felt like the need was to get the guy who could be that single high or who could be that eraser. I know, Mark, you say that. I always trust like, does he have the juice to do that? Like Jimmy Ward is a special player to me, right? Jimmy Ward is a unique player that could
But it took him a while to become that, though, too. Let's be
fair.
But
he had the chops athletically coming in to do that as well. It wasn't like he developed to that athleticism like that. That was something that he just like worked into. Like he had that ability And so that's my question. Like, I don't have a problem if Jay Brown's not that guy, but like, let him be who he is.
Mister says they lost 3 players on the D line. Hello, Jesse. I agree. I'm not saying here was my needs in order, just so that we're clear. All right. Safety, corner, defensive end. They definitely have some depth that they need to fill at D line, especially at defensive end. However, if we're just looking at the starters, they definitely got better at rushing the passer.
Morris gone.
God damn it! The Chiefs are gonna do that.
Morris just went to the Chiefs.
Yeah, man.
And then Steelers select now right at 93.
Yep. So
it's a Chiefs move. They trade up and they get Wanya Morris. Great pick.
It's all good. We don't need to tie.
Do you move up for Freeland? Do you move up?
I don't think
4 picks.
And that was my favorite tackle left in the draft. No one else could play right tackle for him, in my opinion. Blake Freeland, don't even get me started with him because I do not like him. If they take that pick, I will criticize it.
I'm with you. I'm going to say this. I told you that was the only tackle I felt after those guys had gone that I was comfortable with, and I thought that's why I thought it was Wanya Morris when they traded up. We're just having fun. Like I love just being up. I love talking with all you guys. Everybody knows we're just trying to, but it's good to kind of just like talk this through. Like I've never been a homer when it comes to the draft. Like with the guy, like we see like what you like, what you don't. But it's 3rd round picks, right? So, but I'm just hoping that Jair Brown, like again, you're drafting for a career, not for a moment. Does he see the field right now? Like, look at the guys that you write on, like Isaiah Oliver. Does Steve Wilkes like him? Like, where are you putting him? Like, big slot, going outside. Is Demo coming? Samuel Womack, like in those places. So Jair Brown, like at safety, like George Odom still in there, who's a much better athlete, right? Like, is he trash? I mean, where do we? I don't know. Like,
to me, I like I said with the 3 safety look, I think that that's possible. And David, I know you had the questions about the single high. Can Jair be that single high guy? I mean, he has that experience in Penn State, and that's where a part of the coverage instincts grew. And I think that to me is valuable. I know the 4.6 speed and the athletic profile is a little questionable. I do think, like Marco said earlier, he plays a little faster on film. Obviously, how does that translate, and how quickly does that translate is important. And I do think that that's a good question as well, right? We talked about safety being the biggest need, but we do have 2 startable safeties in the room right now with what seems like our starting corners already set out as well. So while I personally am pretty intrigued by the pick, I do think that that's a good question. How is he going to see the field in year 1, and how often?
I'm just going to process.
Tidbit that I wrote down, just a little quick tidbit that I wrote down during the draft or the combine. Sorry, Jair Brown was actually the fastest on the gauntlet drill out of all the DBs at 19.2 miles per hour. He's done that a couple times in games, but that speed is naturally there. Has always been there. Jair Brown is his 4.65 number doesn't do justice for how fast.
I wasn't even looking at his 40. His 10-yard split was fine. Like, I think, granted, that's not that, but like, I don't care. 40s, I don't like, but just, like, I'm more like the style of what he's known for. My question is, like, is he? Yeah. So I'm just saying, when you're trading up, is the value of like what you're getting with Jair Brown more than what you're getting out of a guy who could play outside corner, or a guy who could possibly be your starting right tackle? And maybe they don't like Wanya Morris. Maybe that was a guy that they just, and I don't know.
Even
then,
likes to do. Go ahead. My bad.
I was just gonna say though, even then, like, if they draft a tackle, let's say they took Morris, there's the 49ers. First of all, the 49ers sit everybody. This thought that for sure at pick 81 or 85, they were going to draft a tackle, and that tackle was going to come in and start day 1. I just don't see it. I mean, that's not the 49ers MO, you know? And the 49ers, here's what's crazy. I'm not saying the offensive line is incredible. One thing I've said is that I believe the 49ers offensive line actually can improve with Mike McGlinchey gone. And not because he's gone, but because even if they take a back step slightly at right tackle, you had 3 first-time starters in the interior of that offensive line. If all of them take a step forward, which is reasonable to think that that is a possibility in year 2, you still improve along the offensive line. And let's also not forget the fact that the offensive line, I understand maybe starting right tackle, not the best, but offensive line is actually a position group as a whole that I think is very deep on this team and very versatile.
So Daniel Jeremiah tweeted out after the pick, he goes, Jair Brown was my top safety in this class. Reminds me a lot of Micah Hyde. That's a very good comp for him in the sense of what he provides to the team. But what I also like about Jair Brown is
Darnell Washington, 93. He just went to Pittsburgh.
Yeah, that was a little while ago. I think that right after the Wanya Morris pick, actually, right before it. But what's crazy is Wilkes likes to blitz on third downs. Jair Brown could do that. He could get after the quarterback with how fast he is and how instinctive he is as a blitzer. That's something to also think about with the scheme and how it's going to change a little bit. It's not going to be the same scheme that we saw with D'Amico and Robert Saleh. We're going to see a different scheme on the back end. It's not going to be pure cover 3, cover 4. It's not going to be that. It's going to be a lot of different things mixed in.
To your
one
point,
other thing to add about that.
Go ahead.
From Jeff Deeney, PFF Jeff Deeney. Brown was very effective blitzing the quarterback last year. 15 quarterback pressures and 4.5 sacks on 51 pass rushing snaps.
That's good. It's very good.
That's another thing similar to Talanoa Hufanga there.
Lions just
from safety.
Lions just traded up
with Arizona.
I can't.
Or Bengals.
Yeah, looks like Arizona.
PI says not blindly following Wilkes, but Wilkes was our biggest new coach acquisition, and like that we clearly placed our trust in him and went out and got someone that I'm sure he wanted. Solid move. Yeah.
No, good,
I don't have an issue with it.
Good call, brother. And I was trying.
Oh wait, no. Arizona selected Michael Wilson.
Okay, so then they traded up. Oh, Michael Wilson. There you go.
Probably with
they traded up with the
Cincinnati?
Bengals then, most likely.
Go ahead.
No, it's just no. You're good, man. We have 4 guys on here, so it's like Go ahead, man.
So the thing with the Niners now, do you take Keely Ringo if he's there? I do. He's better than Demo,
especially with Morris off the board. I think you do.
I will say this. You got me onto Cameron Mitchell. I watched him a lot after that. I like Cameron Mitchell more. I know you might. I don't care if you don't. Like I do. I like Cameron Mitchell more.
And I actually put you on Mitchell, right?
Yeah.
That's what you said. But I don't know, because Cam Mitchell was a guy who predominantly I'm playing him inside. He's not long enough to play outside in the NFL, unfortunately. So for me, I'd have to play him inside.
Game Time says, darn, Jesse, motivational speaker. I bet you could make me believe Javon Kinlaw was a good pick, too. Let me tell you about Javon Kinlaw. Listen, no, I'm just kidding. That's funny.
I mean, you probably should try to convince me on Kinlaw. Who's this Kinlaw are you talking about? Did we take him at 99?
Javon Kinlaw, yeah. I mean, I would take him at 99. I would trade up, actually, with Washington here and get up to 97 to make sure I can secure him.
Dang, that's how good he can. That's the player to go. It sounds like he's the next guy.
I don't know though. With Cam Mitchell though, he's got you got Saquon where like little 32-inch arms, but he had those big old mitts, man. He got 10-inch hands, a little extra length there. Like
2 picks away, baby.
I gotta say, Pittsburgh. I like Pittsburgh's draft so far. They got Broderick Jones, Joey Porter Jr., Keanu Bitton, Darnell Washington. Not bad.
So Jair Brown, does he go by his handle is Tig, and it says Penn State football says Tig to the bay? Is that his nickname, Tig? They go by Tig Brown?
I think so.
Yeah, because it's like Penn State football. His handle is @_TIIG2. So and then and Penn State football's calling him Tig. So is that his nickname? I want to know so we can start calling him that.
I think that is his nickname. If I'm correct, that's his nickname.
Okay.
You guys ready for this?
One thing I want to ask y'all. Do
Yeah.
you think they wait on corner and go and trade up in round 4? There's a lot of corner talent still available. Do you
They
think
lost
that
the
that's an
fifth.
option.
I don't know how much they can trade up at this point because they've lost to their 5th round pick.
What about 2024 assets?
I don't know. I think they're probably going to stay pat at this point. I could be wrong.
Let's listen to this real quick. This is a great tweet by Ari Mirov. So Trent Baalke's taken a running back in every draft he's ever been a GM in. 2011, Kendall Hunter. 2012, LaMichael James, a.k.a. LaMike. 2013, Marcus Lattimore. 2014, Carlos Hyde. 2015, Mike Davis. 2016, Kelvin Taylor. 2021, Travis Etienne. 2022, Snoop Connor. And this year, Tank Bigsby. He's officially hit on one of those running backs. That's incredible.
And by the way, I told you about Tank Bigsby. I told you I liked him. He was one of my favorite guys. Like he's actually a good.
I would have liked him too until Baalke took him. Now I'm not so sure.
But you have to know. But you got Travis Etienne in there. Who was the other guy after James Robinson left? That was the they re-signed him from the Niners. Jesus. RB
Jamichael.
RB4, yeah, RB5, Jamichael Hasty, yeah. So I actually think Tank Bigsby is kind of nice change of pace back there. I mean, he's more athletic than he's given credit for. Really good one cut, decisive runner. Actually, I think that's right. Exactly.
Jordan
where
Battle just went to the Bengals.
There you go.
Which makes a lot of sense.
Who?
Good pick.
Jordan Battle. So
Jordan Battle.
So now all we got is 3 picks in front of us.
Jesse
It's
Bates
Lions.
replacement.
Okay.
Lions, Commanders, Browns. Lions, Commanders, Browns first pick of the draft.
If Keely Ringo is not there, if it's there and we pass on him at 10 or 99 and 101, I'm gonna be pissed.
No, oh yeah. So if we're looking at this, you got here's who's left. We got 3 guys. There's so much there. You've got Keely Ringo. You've got Adam Aware, who I thought I'm saying athletic profile guys take flyers. To me, if he's there, I'm taking him with one of those picks. Adam Aware out of Northwestern. You're looking at, okay, what about Dawan Jones? I know you don't like, he's a bigger guy that I thought a lot of people thought might have gone higher. Natural right tackle. It's obviously not going to be Antonio Johnson now. What about a guy like Nick? There's the guy. Here's your Wisconsin guy, Rohan. What about Nick Herbig?
Nick Herbig?
Right? Yeah, I mean, he's an undersized guy, the edge rusher, right? But like, again, athlete. Yeah. I know you don't like him. I'm just saying.
Terrible player. I'm sorry. Wisconsin, I love you guys, but terrible player.
Well, Rohan, do you have a counterpoint on that?
He agrees.
Man.
Oh, there he goes. Broderick Martin, defensive tackle, Western Kentucky.
Let me
only 2 picks left to go.
Stanford players then. No, I'm kidding. Okay.
Mikey Wilson just went, man.
Yeah.
Okay, we got 2. Joe Tippmann went at 42.
I'm not saying. No, you guys. I told you. One of my favorite defensive tackles in the class was Keanu Benton.
Yeah.
That is legitimately what the Steelers just did. They replaced their future at the defensive tackle position by getting Chris Jones 2.0. And I said that from the beginning. That's Chris Jones 2.0.
One thing I want to ask you guys, 2 picks away. Could you envision a trade down from either 99 or 101? Because there's a lot of talent on the board. Do you think that they take both of them?
You got to take both. They already have 9 picks. There's just no way. There just doesn't make any sense to me. Like, why trade up unless you thought Jair? Like, I just can't. You have 9 picks now total. Stick with it.
Reason why? So, the reason why you do that is cap purposes. If you feel like you can't sign everyone.
I don't
stuff
think
like
they're
that.
too big of a especially with the CMC restructure. I don't think they're in too big.
I don't think there's a big deal on that. It's interesting that I'm saying we can't pass on Keely Ringo because me and Rohan just recently talked about him, and I talked kind of down on him in the sense of being a first rounder, but getting him at the end of the 3rd round would be insane value on him.
Oh yeah, if they go,
he's straight.
I'm gonna be ecstatic. absolutely ecstatic if that's the route that they go in these.
I'm
first
very. What do you think Croc would say if they got Keely Ringo, Jesse? I know you talked to Croc a lot.
Hey,
I don't
Commanders,
know. I
pick us
haven't
in.
asked him about Ringo, honestly. So I don't know what his thoughts would be on Ringo.
It could be they could go edge and then corner, or edge and then I don't know, but I would do.
I would think corner would be the second pick because
Why
of the
not?
amount
I
that on the
would go
board.
first. I would go first on corner if I'm going corner.
If it's Ringo,
Yeah.
We have 2 more picks
Hey,
to
I
go.
Steve
Commanders and
Wilkes,
Browns.
his
Tommy's
first draft,
pick is
he gets
in.
2 defensive backs to start the class. I mean, he'd be pretty ecstatic.
There's also up there.
I'm just going to say here, there's some guy. Parker Washington is the guy that I've been wanting, and now they don't have their first 5th round pick is gone. I have no problem with this guy. I think Parker. Now I might be a little redundant. I know he's not. I know Marco. You've been saying that they've been looking for speed in some way. I think more in the running back room, but I like Parker Washington that much. I'm not going to be heartbroken if they don't take him. I'll be put it that way. But yeah, tight end. I just don't see a guy that's worth the pick here.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't.
My receiver of choice here would be Charlie Jones. That's my guy out of Purdue.
I actually like Charlie Jones a lot, and I think that he is an underrated player in this draft. I'm not sure why. I mean, he's small, right? He's 175 pounds.
Yeah.
But this dude, if you watch Big Ten football, the kid,
productive.
He just catches everything, and they know you're going after him, and they can't defend the dude. He catches everything. He's tough as nails. He lives over the middle of the field. He's not afraid to get hit. He gets open. He's just he's a really good route runner.
He's in my opinion, he's a better true receiver than what Debo was, and he can still do the Debo-like things. I'm not saying he's a better player, but I'm talking about being a better receiver, route running, stuff like that.
Charlie Jones he'd be a guy that could come in and be that slot guy right away.
Oh, you guys talking about? I thought you were talking about Parker Washington. My bad.
Oh,
what'd you say? Who'd you thought you were talking about?
I thought you were talking about Parker Washington still.
Oh no, I actually think Charlie Jones is. Yeah, he's not going to do the Debo thing,
Stromberg, but to what do you call it? To Washington, I guess.
Commies. Stromberg, there's your guy.
Yeah, that's a good one. Hey, I want to say this real quick. Let me throw this out there. So if the 49ers don't go edge with one of these 2 picks, to me, I'm going to keep holding out hope that after a Bosa extension, which is going to free up a good amount of money, that they can go sign a 1-year Yannick Ngakoue.
Maybe.
Okay.
I would like that.
I mean, there's still a couple of solid, productive names in free agency. That now compensatory formulas removed. You don't got to care about that as much, which could have been a thing before. And they could go out and they could get somebody, even without Bosa. I mean, right now, that move we just did freed up a good amount of cap space with CMC. You could see a move after the draft.
PIVC says, been looking more into Brown, 4.5740, same as Ed Reed. Think he has good instincts and a great tackler. I'm getting pumped. I like it. I don't know about the Ed Reed comparison, but actually, I do want to say this though. The Ed Reed thing, 4.57, he played like a damn 4.3 guy. The way Ed Reed played, he was everywhere. So, a 4.57's 40 isn't necessarily the worst.
Siaki. 49ers are on the clock. Siaki, I can't say his name. He's the pick.
All right, so okay,
49ers are on the clock. Let's go.
Keely Ringo is there, my friend.
They should
a lot of names there.
Let's take a look at who's there. Okay, they got Keely Ringo. They got Adebawar, who's there.
Adebawar,
a lot of running backs.
And, you got running backs, corners, Darius Rush, Blake Freeland, Tyler Scott.
A name we haven't talked about. Luke Whippler is still there.
Luke Whippler is still there.
If you want center, I don't know if center's really on the board at the moment, but both of them are still there.
You know what? You know what tackle I would take over Freeland? Jalen Duncan. If Kyle's gonna go tackle,
Damn, he's
Jalen
still there
Duncan
too.
over Freeland. If they're gonna go
He is
tackle,
still
you
there.
gotta do Duncan over Freeland. But we'll see what Kyle does or John Lynch
Take
does.
his
Because
in.
if it's
Take
49ers,
his
That
in.
was fast.
What about Saldivari? Do you think they like Saldivari?
see what the Niners
I see.
take. Jake Moody, kicker.
Did they really?
I'm just kidding.
I was
Okay.
like, are you kidding me?
You fell
Holy
for
cow!
They both fell for it, which is funny.
Well, dude, I'm not seeing.
No, it's true.
No, they
Adam
did
Schefter
take
just said it.
Moody.
Moody.
They
Holy
100% took
cow.
Moody.
Bro, I was just kidding. That's a terrible
They
pick.
literally took Moody.
Bro, that's honestly, I have not seen. That is terrible. If I was right on that, that's hilarious. No way.
Wow. What
That's
the?
terrible.
I wasn't frozen. I'm.
Hey,
Holy cow!
I was just kidding. That's terrible.
You better be Justin. You better be Justin Tucker.
That is terrible. Absolutely, that's the worst pick of the draft
And
by
look,
far.
this is the thing that people will say. Yeah, but what he'll do? Yeah, this is the thing. This is what I love about people. They'll be like, because everybody likes to just you bootlick everybody. Like, oh yeah, they get paid to do this. They know more than you.
Terrible.
And it was like the idea that Jake Moody could be their starting kicker and it being serviceable does not mean it was worth
Okay.
passing on people of premium positions. It just doesn't.
We
And
gotta
you
cut
don't
Zane Gonzalez. He got to be cut tomorrow. If
Well,
if we draft Jake Moody in the third
Terrible.
round, cut him tomorrow. Otherwise,
And here's the thing. This is what makes the trade up for Jair Brown frustrating. Okay, is again, you're not gonna like. I'm not saying that I shouldn't. You're not giving up that much, but you gave up 2 extra picks that maybe you could have used to move up for like. I'm just saying, or throw darts. And by the way, what if some of these guys get cut and don't make the team? Wow, who cares? What's that often happens in the NFL. The Niners are some like, I don't know, man. Like, we did this before with Wisnowski, and that was in the 4th round, and that Chauncey Gardner-Johnson was there. You remember that?
You guys sound very moody right now. You guys like that dad joke?
Bro, I'm
right now,
gonna
right?
break this wine bottle off and go to the screen. I'm gonna be in Manteca. I'm gonna be in Modesto. I'm gonna be in.
Bro, that's a terrible pick. You
No.
cannot
holy cow!
explain that pick to me and try to make me feel confident about that's terrible. The
Drink up,
last couple of
Shriners.
kickers that have been taken high in the draft have not succeeded. That is an absolute terrible pick, especially when you have on the board Keely Ringo, you have Adibori.
We should have
The
traded
one-
down if that was our pick.
That's terrible. Absolutely terrible. I don't care what anyone
Wow.
says. That
What
is
is
terrible.
this?
They're on the clock next, but it's still terrible.
Holy cow!
What?
We should have just taken a running back.
I would
If it was
have
gonna
rather
be a
taken
kicker, just let it be a running back.
I would have rather have been a
Wow.
running back. But the crazy part is they had no picks
Roshan
taken
Johnson
from
on the board. Just take Roshan Johnson instead.
I know, but Jesse,
What?
how are you really
Holy
feeling right now?
cow.
Because you haven't said a word since that pick was announced.
I
Did you
just
see me? Did you see me?
The funny part is though, is I gotta go back and say and clip that part where I'm like, it's Moody. And you guys' faces were like, it was amazing.
My face was this.
Like I was waiting.
I-
My internet's slow, so I was waiting for you guys to break it. You guys have been getting all the picks before me. Oh, that's hilarious.
I don't even like. I'm not even. I feel like I stayed up. I'm glad I've been spending the night with you guys, but like, I feel like I do this every.
That was a waste of time for you to stay up.
Okay.
To announce
The
Jake.
Warriors lost. It's
Yes,
a Friday
yeah.
night. It's a Friday night. The Warriors lost, and it's 10 p.m. I'm in a college.
And you
game.
drafted the kicker. Yeah.
we drafted the kicker.
I'm gonna tell you this.
Jesse just looks heartbroken. He looks
Bro,
heartbroken.
I don't. How many good players? How many good players were left that we were just talking about, and any
100.
one of them could have helped? It's like
Frustrating.
Hey Jesse, you asked who can make the biggest contribution? Maybe it's Jake Moody. I mean, he's an automatic starter. Probably the only automatic starter we could have drafted.
Maybe
No,
Jake Moody
true.
could actually kick.
Hey,
He could. Hey, he could.
absolutely. Monza is absolutely right. Jesse is must see. You're right now. Like his reactions have been immaculate. Like they've been amazing. Like when I announced, oh, it's Jake Moody, his reaction to start was obviously absolutely hilarious. And then when it actually was announced, it was even worse. So, like I don't know how it got worse. Like that is an absolutely terrible pick. You cannot explain it to me and say that was smart. That was stupid. Terrible.
I don't. I feel like I'm reliving. It's a Groundhog Day with this team in the third round. Like every year, this is not how you use capital. Hold on, the Niners told you this is a win now year.
The 49ers draft Cameron Latu from Alabama with pick 101.
What?
I mean, at
I
this
think that's
point,
what you
like,
be tripping.
is it out?
That's what I just saw. Could be tripping.
I haven't seen it yet,
Oh,
but
okay.
Jed
So
York
Vegas
did
took
tweet
Trey
right before they
Tucker?
picked Moody. He said, "Let's kick off this draft. Let's kick this draft off right."
That's what he meant by kick up. That
Jed York
Wow.
can honestly go seriously. I'm not going to swear.
Yep,
Honestly,
they took Cameron Latu. He tweeted, "Roll Tide, very quick first day. Roll Tide, see you tomorrow."
What?
That's a bad pick too. If
Dude,
we're being 100% honest, that
guys,
the value
guys,
on the board. Why would you go tight end now?
I mean, I get the Cameron Latu pick.
Solid player, but
player,
he's okay.
touchdown machine. Nothing. So if I'm gonna pull up my scouting report on because I did scout him. I did watch his stuff, but wasn't a guy I would have taken at 99, 101, or 102. I would have taken him in the 5th or 6th round. Football IQ. This is what I had in my notes, and not much of it. Football IQ, versatile, could block. That's about it.
6'5", 244. What are his combine numbers?
I don't care what his combine numbers
I know.
were.
No. I'm just curious. I don't know much about him. So
4.7, 4.7, 40. Not crazy fast, not crazy slow, but to be honest,
what's his 10 yards?
I don't know, man, but let me check for you.
Look, guys, I'm just going to go on a little bit. Niners always do this. I don't know why. I'm going to say this. Grant put out a tweet that was like, "Oh my God, do you like anything?" Like, I would say like this doesn't even include the picks that were used for these players. Now, I like Trey Lance, but yet if he's not 5 out of 20 picks from 2017 to 2022 have been what you consider hits. Okay, in the first 3 rounds. Okay. That's a 25% hit rate. It's bad. Now we're looking at look, I hope Jair Brown, I hope for him the best. You trade up to get a guy who's probably not going to start. Not a tackle, right? Not at center, not a quarterback. You draft a kicker who I guess is going to compete with. What if he's Roberto Aguayo? What if he loses out to Zane Gonzalez? That'll be funny. Then you've got Cameron Latu, and I'll go look back. I'm sorry, I did look at it. Like, good play. I did not have a day too great on him, and he doesn't play a premium position.
I mean, I guess if they think they got their number 2 tight end, potentially number 1, that's what they've been looking for. But I don't love the pick. I don't hate it. It's not great. They had so many players.
It's an average pick.
They don't have a pick until now, the late 5th round. Like,
yeah, even now, like, look at the amount of value that is still there on the board at tight end. Latu fits right in the mold of, I'd say, the other 5 guys that are there. There's so much more value itself that you could take with another player at this spot. You could probably get Latu, like he's saying, at 155. Or at least you could get one of the top 6 tight ends that were going to be there in Will Mallory, Wiley, Kuntz, Davis Allen, and Payne Durham, or Latu. You could get one of those 6 there at 155. I think this is a bit of a reach, even though I think he could fill in well in that tight end 2 role.
Let me read what Zerline says about him. So his strengths are he averaged 14.1 yards per catch at Alabama, early acceleration and effective seam routes, opens, throwing windows with speed alterations, shakes and stems safeties at the top of his route, uses full hand extension to meet the throw. I think he means arm extension. I don't know. Pretty solid pop into a contact as a blocker and sustains in space with mirroring his feet. Here are his weaknesses. Needs work bodying and walling off coverage. Okay. Needs to focus on making routes more elusive, less dynamic than expected after the catch, slender lower half as an NFL base blocker, fits into blocks with tall pads and sloppy hands, and will let catchable balls fall to the turf. So there you go.
This is an interesting tweet from Jordan, one of our guys, Jordan Elliott. New 49ers tight end Cameron Latu was one of the 3 collegiate tight ends that was invited to George Kittle's tight end university last year. Could have been influenced by George Kittle. Hey, this is a really good tight end. I've worked with them in the past. I don't know.
I hope not.
Oh my
if
God.
George Kittle had any influence in this pick,
my God.
Come on, bro. How much?
Oh my
more
God! If that's the
influence does
case,
this guy need?
if that's the case, this team is done. I'm sorry. I'm just going to go on a rant right now. If George Kittle already dictates
quarterback situations, baby.
Yeah, no, George Kittle dictates the culture. George, I know what. Fuck, George, I mean, this is just like, if that's true, like Jordan, I like you, but like, it's not about Jordan. Like, come on, man. Like George Kittle, bro. Like, this isn't about Jordan here. Like, this is like, if we're, this doesn't surprise me.
11.1% drop rate from Latu is inexcusable.
Yeah, that's where he fits in.
The funny part, he fits right into this team. That's our main issue. Drop balls.
And Trey Lance coming in, that's even probably going to be better.
11.2%, you said?
11.1% drop rate.
111. It's horrible. Horrible. We're talking about a tight end. We're not talking about a guy who's running down like
that's pretty
Christian
bad.
Watson. We're not talking about Christian Watson who's like taking the top off, and if he hits, it's he's housing, and if he drops, you can take it every now and then, like a TO in early in his career. I'm sorry, guys. Like, I'm not going to put lipstick on a pig here, and I'm also not going to say it's going to be doom and gloom for sure. I'm just saying, like, right now, you could argue that the Niners have the worst draft of any team in the NFL, objectively.
Right now, they have the worst draft in the NFL.
Right.
If we're being honest.
And that's just by, like, you can say, and I get people are going to see this. I know what people are doing right now. And like, I know you're going to see, like, people are getting their kids like, okay, how am I going to respond to this? How am I going to, like, what do the 49ers want me to say? You know, it's like, I'm just, look, the bottom line is, Jair Brown, I'm going to say this right now. I think he'd be a good player. I like that DJ likes him. I have no problem with the draft pick whatsoever. And trading up, you're not giving up a whole lot, right? But then to draft a kicker in the 3rd round. And then draft a tight end. Is he even tight end 2? Do we know this guy's tight end 2? Is he winning that job? Because what I've seen from Niners
that is
rookies,
actually a good question.
Seriously,
that job.
I don't know he is, and is he going to see meaningful snaps? So again, you're saying we're redshirting, but we're believe in winning now. We believe in winning now. So if you believe in winning now, why not trade these up? Why not trade up and go get a impact player? They didn't do that. There's rumblings that some tweets say, hey, rumors of them being aggressive. And then somebody's like, yeah, but then they like took stock of the situation. And then we were just saying, hey, stay here and get value. What do? They don't get value. I don't know, guys. Like, I've seen this before. We've seen TDP. We've seen, look, I like Danny Gray. Is he really going to take the next step? Who knows? I don't think I'm watching. I usually watch day 3. I don't think I'm not trying to be down the. I'm just saying, like, I don't think I'm watching day 3. I think I'm going to go outside for a walk and just like wake and then check after the draft. I've never done that in my life. But like,
I gotta say, I didn't watch Latu. I've now got to go watch him, but that 11.1% drop rate is not a good start.
A little bit of a reach with the
He's
value.
fine.
Finding
It's
players
a
little
reach.
bit of a reach. Yeah.
When you have other players on the board that have have a higher upside, and you're taking picks because it's positional need or position that you need a tight end too. When you have guys like Keely Ringo on the board, you have guys like Abadori, however you say his name, on the board. Blake Freeland that the 49ers supposedly liked, who's worked with. I would have criticized that pick, but wouldn't have been mad because it more upside on that pick. When you look at guys still on the board, Jalen Duncan has more upside. Receivers that are on the board, Tyler Scott, Parker Washington. Like, to me, going Cameron Latu, it better be a super safe pick in the sense of he better be a very productive number 2 tight end that could fill in for George Kittle whenever he's out. And even then, he cannot do that.
Yeah, I don't. I'll say this. I really liked that first pick a lot.
First pick, amazing.
I like Jair Brown. So let's go positive there. Jake Moody's a guy that I didn't mind them drafting at some point during this process, but seeing it go that early, and I don't know much about Latu, but that 11.1% drop rate is not good at all.
I'll say this, guys. I want to see the silver lining, but what I'd like to see, not going to mention names, not transfer shade, but I do see this. I want to see objective analysis. And I want to see it's okay to have it. Like, we're having even emotional, but like all I'm seeing right now on my TL, it's just all silver lining, but it's not silver lining. It's like golden lining.
But that's
like,
every year. Listen, when we were crapping on TDP, the first thing is I got off as soon as we were done and checked Twitter, and everybody is just shilling for the 49ers. Like, oh my God, TDP. And blah. I mean, I know he wasn't on my board, but just so many good things. Like, that's all. I was like, are you kidding me?
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Well, David Lombardi is stealing Matt Mayoko's tweets like usual. Jake Moody said he's actually built a relationship with Robbie Gould. Mayoko just tweeted that like 5 minutes before him, saying verbatim. Just in. One additional benefit to Jake Moody. He's been Michigan's kickoff specialist. He's a kicker. Yeah, he's a kickoff specialist because he's a kicker. It's like saying like it's like I'm an AP World History teacher, right? So they say, David Lichty, you go to parents at at the auditorium, like signing up for classes, like he teaches AP World History, and actually, he also happens to be our Cold War specialist. He happens to be the Scramble for Africa specialist. And even and in a pinch, he happens to
a kickoff specialist is important, man.
Oh man. 2.0 says high on Brown, could start immediately if he had to. Moody is a sniper and could put the ball in the end zone. Also, same agent as Gold. Latu is fine for a 4th rounder and has time to develop. Relax in the lower left.
Yeah, Latu is fine for a 4th rounder, but it wasn't a 4th round.
If we're being honest, the freaking Rams have actually drafted better than the Niners today.
Yeah, but can I? And I want to say
the
2.0.
NFC West is drafted pretty darn well.
Can we keep that comment up for a second? I've never seen
let me say this.
Call a kicker a sniper.
Hold on. Let me say this just real quick.
Kicker's a sniper?
Moody has a 66.6% kick rate above 40 yards. This thought that he is what's his name from Baltimore is laughable. Can we be clear about that?
He's a sniper
above 40, not 50, above 40, 66%. That's not sniping anything. I'm sorry, it's just not.
You're telling me he's got a chance to be Brett Maher. great leg, but he can't be accurate.
Snipe D's.
I mean, he's a solid kicker, but
I mean, okay.
Hey 2.0, Yaley. I respect. Hey, it's all good. But bottom. Oh yeah, time to develop. What's it say there? I can't read. What the hell? Why is my battery icon?
Like his leg is not
Oh, I see.
exceptional. He doesn't have an exception. It's not like he's kicking 60-yarders and like he made like a 55-yarder. I remember he made like a 55-yarder and everybody went crazy. Like, oh my God, a 55-yarder. Like we don't see it all the time in the NFL. Like it's not that big of a deal. I don't know. And again, he might be fine overall. I wasn't mad with them taking Moody the player, but at that pick, there's just so many good players left, and we're still here left figuring out like, oh, they could have taken this player and this player and this player. We just sat here. Hold on. And let me just say this real quick. Most of this chat when we took safety was upset, which was a position of need. Not most of this chat, but some people in this chat were upset when we took a position of need at safety because they felt like we needed a tackle or a defensive end. And now we got people shilling when they don't take either of those positions. They take a tight end who wasn't the best on the board, and they take a kicker. And we're supposed to just be like, oh, no, it's all good. So I'm not trying to say, I'm not going to go as far as, Marco or David necessarily and say, hey, worst draft out of all the teams. I have to go watch Latu. I don't know who he is as a player, so I'm not going to overspeak when I haven't watched him. But to act as if there were not really good prospects left on that board in positions of need, I think that's a little wild to say.
Let me explain why I say the worst draft class there is and that's been drafted so far. It's not because of the Cameron Latu pick. It's not. When you're taking a kicker in the third round over Keely Ringo and guys that are there that could actually make a big impact and have more upside, that's where it makes it a bad draft class. I don't care how good Moody is. He's 82% of his kicks were made that he attempted on field goals. 100% on extra points. It's great. 82%, you take a kicker in the third round when they're in the 90s, when they don't miss. 82% is kind of bad.
And to say they needed a kicker, they just traded for a kicker.
It was a pick swap or whatever. Whatever. Yeah. I mean, they gave up. So yeah, this is a great thing. What was it? What would they give up? Did they give they're getting a worse pick, right?
It's like a conditional pick.
It's a conditional pick.
I think he had to make the roster for the trade to go through. So it's essentially like the trade is void. The one thing I'll say about Moody, the good part is you get him for 4 years, so you don't have to worry about kicker inconsistency. But still, at this portion of the draft, it's a tough selection because there were a couple of like Chad Ryland out of Maryland is also a guy with a pretty strong leg. You could have probably had him in the 5th round if you wanted a kicker. That is, and you don't even need it's a solid player. Again, The point is positional value at the position where you were at, understanding how much talent was still on the board at several other positions, that could also make an impact. Whereas
my mother-in-law
still go and target the kicker later on.
My mother-in-law just texted me. Now she's a diehard Packers fan. She knows her ball. She was literally born like a block away from Lambeau. Still a season ticket holder. They live in Reno now. My father-in-law, my wife's stepdad, is born and raised in Denver. Huge Broncos fan. Diehard. Their whole house is a shrine to the Packers and Broncos. She texts me, "You got a kicker!" 5 exclamation marks. I said, "Hey, can I swear? Can I swear? Can I swear? Can I swear on here?"
Yeah, go ahead.
I said, "Fuck off."
The greatest kicker of all time went undrafted.
I told this is where we're at. I love my mother-in-law, so I can do this, but it's like I had to tell my mother-in-law to fuck off because of the 49ers. The 49ers made me tear my family apart.
You're so stupid. You're so dumb. You're so dumb.
You're
You know
so
what?
stupid.
And I said, you guys watch Succession? You guys watch that show? It's my favorite show. No, but you're not going to get the reference. Like, there's an episode where all the Roy kids, it's based loosely on Rupert Murdoch, the big man. They're all just ridiculously wealthy, and they're all horrible people.
Hold on. What was Moody's kick percentage?
80 something.
82?
But 66
82
above
now.
40. 66
Okay, but
above
82
40.
overall, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so I don't have
82.9.
2022 stats in front of me, but in 2021,
82.9.
in 2021, he would have been tied for the 24th best kicker in the NFL.
Hey, he
And that was
in
made all of
college.
his extra points in college. 148
crazy,
or 148 on extra points.
He makes all his extra points, and the extra points in college aren't they're shorter kicks.
Yeah. But the crazy part is when you look at the 49ers taking a kicker, the greatest kicker of all time, in my opinion, that I've ever seen kick the damn football, Justin Tucker from Baltimore, went undrafted. Drafting a kicker is terrible. Unless it's a 7th round, that's fine. But drafting a kicker is terrible. Absolutely terrible. Like that.
The 49ers are the most the 49ers are the most arrogant front office in the NFL. That Kyle, they really believe that. So here's my thing. You guys know how much I love Trey. I got to the point where I was actually hoping that they would trade him not because I want what's best for Trey, yada yada yada, things like that. But I worry that they're not going to. I know I want to believe otherwise. I just don't know if I believe it. And then they end up not running with him anyway, and then not being able to trade him at all. Much like they did with Jimmy. I don't think this team cares. They get in a position where they said, hey, we've hit on X amount of players, and we believe in our culture, and whatever happens, happens. And we have a fan base that seems to be very content with runner-up. So it's like, I'm just saying, like, you're not the Kansas City Chiefs with Patrick Mahomes. You're not staring down the barrel of being able to run it back like for the next 15 years with that guy. Like, no doubt about it. Even in a tight AFC, where you can have the luxury to take a running back at 32, or you have a luxury to take a kicker in the 3rd round. I don't know. I think this is for a team that said win now. And I know you guys said, like, hey, maybe they make a play for Ngakoue. That's great. I hope that'd be nice. That doesn't take away from the fact that you end up drafting how you draft. Like, paying Ngakoue has nothing to do with drafting a defensive end in round 3. You know what I mean? Like, it just doesn't. So, yeah, I'm cool. Like, I'm not going to lose sleep tonight. I'm just like used to it. And
I just,
Which was
my
the worst
thing
pick?
is
This or
like
TDP?
they
Which was
draft
the worst?
well. They traditionally draft well in the later rounds.
Not in the 3rd rounds, though.
In the third, but I was just going to say that 3rd round has been an area of miss. Fred Warner, great pick, obviously, right? But 3rd round traditionally has not been of the later rounds, which I can't even. It's a middle round, so later rounds they do well. We'll see what they get later. I'm sure they're probably going to steal somebody there, but I do want to say, like, this whole Moody thing, like, Moody is not, at least yet, like, from what he's shown in college. If we think he's going to take a leap in the NFL, I think that's optimistic to say the least. But his kick percentage would not be good for an NFL kicker at all for his overall kick percentage. And his 40 yards and above would be, and I'm just doing quick math on all these I'm going through because they don't have the percentage in here, one of the worst in the NFL. So it's not, they didn't get like this can't miss prospect when it comes to kicking.
But did he run a 4.4 or 4.5 like Wisnowski?
He might have.
That's the most important part.
Unbelievable. And this is the front office coaches we are trusting with the QB situation. Why y'all so damn moody? Left me. Hey, you missed it. Marco already got it. He already got it. Let's go. 2.0 says Niners absolutely needed a kicker. Okay, we're not necessarily arguing that they needed a kicker. And Moody is arguably the best one in the draft, but even then, he's not a surefire anything, and they just spent a 3rd round pick on him. If they really needed a kicker for a win now team, I would expect that they went and got a free agent kicker that was available when there was a lot available that were good kickers.
How many
aside.
How many Super Bowl rings does Harrison Butker have?
What, 1, 2, 2?
Two.
2, I think.
Harrison Butker was drafted in the 7th round with the 233rd overall pick in the 2017 NFL draft by, does anyone even know what team drafted him? Do you remember that? The Panthers. The Panthers signed Butker to a 4-year, $2 million contract. He was waived in September. He did not make the team and signed to the practice squad. And then he joined the Chiefs in September of that year. Yep. He's become one of the more reliable kickers.
Agreed.
And he was basically a UDFA. He was cut before he made the team. I don't even count that as being drafted, to be quite honest. Like, he didn't even he was cut before the season started, his rookie year, after they spent a draft pick on him. And now I could do this all night, but I'm not going to go. I guarantee you I could find this all over the league.
Oh, I'm sure.
This is the first. This is the first guy I looked up.
Hold on, let me set the tone real quick.
Sure.
Mr. Reeson, listen, I'm very clear with the rules around here, right? Like, you can challenge any thought that somebody has, but the moment you get personal, and you said this is the 6th time you're telling either somebody in the chat or somebody up here to STFU, I'll make it really easy for you. You're blocked. Go home.
There you go. Yeah.
Like, don't. Like, the personal stuff, I'll never deal with it. Like, I'm just not going to deal with it. I don't care. Like,
go to
don't
Facebook.
get personal with anybody. There's no reason for it. You can challenge the take. There can be strong disagreement around takes. I have zero issue with that. But if you're going to attack somebody's character over football, let's be clear, over football that none of us play professionally, I'm just not going to deal with it. So anybody else in the chat, you want to go that route, I'll do the same thing.
I would say you should laugh at me about when I was in college. Jerry Springer died yesterday. Okay.
You were laughing about Jerry Springer dying?
No.
He said
when I was in college. When I was in college,
he was like, "Where's this coming, David?"
My junior year of college, September of my junior year, my buddies and I were sitting on the couch at the U in Minneapolis, watching Jerry Springer, and there was a thing comes on. It's like, "Are you in a bizarre love triangle? If so, call what?" And so my roommate Eddie, and I, we went down our downstairs neighbor Laura. She was an actor, and we were like, she was in the school of theater, and we were like sitting here like, "Hey, you want to like create this story about like how we're in this bizarre love triangle, blah 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 blah." So we call up the Jerry Springer show, I'm like, and it's just this elaborate story, and we leave a message. Next day, we're down drinking Jello shots. It's Saturday night. There's a big party going on, and my roommate, we had 3 roommates. One of them was from Marshall, Minnesota, where Trey Lance is from. Matt, he became a rent-a-cop somewhere. He that's a real story. He's like, "Lichty, somebody tell on the phone." And I said, "Who is it?" "Somebody from Jerry Springer." And I was like, son of a bitch. So I go upstairs. We go up there, and I go to my southern accent voice, whatever that sounds like.
Mid story, he became a rent-a-cop.
Bro, that's true. It's so the guy was not serious. I mean, he was also in the marching band at the end. But people in the marching band never develop into anybody. Like, I mean, they really don't.
World, Craig.
Marching. Sorry, if any of you guys were in the marching band, my condolences. So the thing is like I got on the show. They call us back 3 straight days, like not all day long, but like 3 straight days. We're going, they're vetting our story. They keep calling each one of us to check if it's real. But like I learned later in Chicago, it's out of Chicago. They book our flights. They have our accommodations. You get a stipend, all meals provided, all expenses paid. And we get to know how it works. And they're just like, "Yeah, if we find out this is real, we could sue you, blah, 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 blah." And so one of my buddies, Laura, one of them got cold feet, and we had to bail like the day before. And we made up some story about how we all, we're all living together now in this bizarre, whatever. And I, to this day, wonder how my life would have changed if we would have got on that plane. and like done that show. And what I found out that summer, I was going to Cubs Cardinals game, staying in a Wrigley rooftop apartment. I met one of my best friend's brothers. Is a producer at the Springer Show, and he said they always tell you that they'll sue you, but they know almost all those stories are fake anyway.
Of course they were fake.
And I could have, like, what would have happened? We were ready to, and the best line they said, the agent said on the phone, he's like, "Are you willing to fight?" He said, "Motherfucker, I'll kill that bitch." You know, it's like, oh, they're like, excellent. Like, that's how they were like, it was like, yep, that'll work. Well, yep, he'll kill him. Cool. We'll have blood. You know, it's like, so anyway, Jerry Springer died yesterday, and I had to sit there and be like, I could have met him, and I didn't.
You're such a fool.
He said he became a rent-a-cop. Mid-story, like, so cat, rent-a-cop. Like, not even a
I'm a high school teacher, man. You got to, like, you're always on. I tell stories, like, you got to, you know,
I can't wait to go watch this Jake Moody film.
Okay.
Bro.
I want to see Jake Moody on Jerry Springer.
Because I
Like I
just
said,
searched this up
listen.
because I was looking for.
I knew
for
you were
my-
into something with how deep you were.
Do it. Yeah, go ahead.
No, I'm in the middle of my article right now, but dude,
You're in college right now. It's too late for you to be on Springer. He's dead.
the highest that a kicker has been drafted that was in the top 25 in terms of accuracy last year was 145 in the 5th round.
Yep.
A majority of the kickers were undrafted. The highest people went was 145. There was 145, 151, which was Jake Elliott. I forget exactly who 145 was. 145 was Matt Gay. 151, Jason, or what do you call it?
Jake Elliott.
Jake Elliott, and it goes on and on. Moody is at 99. So just take that with a grain of salt. As you
And
know,
he
the top
kicked,
25
and he was
kickers last year
82%
had a
his
higher
final
accuracy.
year in college, which would have been the 25th worst in the NFL. So
got
in college, he was at 82%, and we think that he's going to all of a sudden be a 90% kicker in the NFL, 92% kicker, which is basically what you need to be a top 10 kicker.
But let's say he ends up being a 15th ranked kicker, which what can you expect, right? That's probably where you want to be. Who cares? You're at 32 kickers. That's not where you draft him anyway. Let's say so he becomes a starting kicker. People like, see, we got a starting kicker now. And like, yep, that's not the point, dumbass. And it's like, so it's like I just anyway, you can't have serious conversations about this without people like telling you that you're a hater because you can't ever criticize the team.
That is crazy, bro. Like taking a kicker at 99, knowing that you could get kickers that are undrafted every year that become solid, it just doesn't make sense.
Watch Chad Ryland from Maryland go like get drafted in the 7th round and be the better kicker. Yep.
Yeah.
It's going to happen.
Dude,
Right.
even if he isn't, the value of taking him in the 7th round would be higher than taking Jake Moody at the end of the 3rd, even if they're comparable at all.
You know what John Lynch is going to say? He's going to go up there. It's like, you know what? If we had a 1st round pick, I would have taken him in the 1st. That's how much we believe in this guy.
He was the number 1 player on our draft board. To take him, all right?
He's going to tuck that poplin shirt into his khakis, and he's going to be like, yeah, you know what? There's a guy named Sebastian Janikowski. Heard of him? Well, I think when I see this guy, that's who I see. You know, you don't want to run to this guy in a dark alley. He's our kicker.
Let me throw this out there too, because now I'm looking at Moody. So last year he was 29 to 35, which was 82.9%. Again, that would be the 25th best kicker in the NFL. You got to be above 90% to be top 10. That's not out of the. If I just take his whole career as a kicker, so last year he kicked 35 times. His whole career he kicked 84 times. Guess where he's at? 82.1%. This is kind of who he is.
Yep.
He had one season, I believe, where he was 92%, 23 to 25, and then the rest are, I believe, in the 80s. His second year, if he kicked a little bit, was in the 70s, I believe. But last year was the 82.9%.
Yep.
Here's what's going to happen. He's going to end up being a decent kicker, and this is what we're going to hear. You guys, your teammates don't care where you were drafted. They don't care if you were drafted at 262 or number 1. Can you produce? Can you play? Did you help me win? That's all that matters. You think anybody looks back and says, "Yeah, I was drafted in the 3rd round of the set"? No, we're Niners. We're the team, right? It's the name on the front of the jersey, not on the back. It's like, and he's a kickoff. He's a kickoff specialist. Kickoff specialist.
I want to see what I'm
Twisted-
most looking forward to seeing is the phone call and the reaction of everyone in Jake Moody's house when he got the call at 99. He probably didn't have a watch party. Probably was just chilling with his parents, his parents, a sibling or whatever, his girl, and that's probably it. Eating pizza bagels, the pizza bagel bite. That's probably what they're eating because he wasn't expecting to get drafted today. She was expecting to have a big party on tomorrow when the 7th round was going. He was going to have everyone there, but instead he got drafted in the 3rd round. He's like, "Oh well, hey, cancel. Have my party tomorrow. I guess. Like, I'm flying away. You guys can have fun." Like, that's crazy. Like, he really wasn't going to get drafted until the 6th round, in my opinion. If he wasn't going to get taken.
Twisted Clown says, Kyle, you wanted me to take a running back at Kyle saying this. You wanted me to take a running back instead? Yeah, probably.
I did.
Jan Evander says, y'all think Kyle Shanahan and John Lynch draft with the dartboard? What the F? Yeah, I don't know.
Kind of.
It was weird, to say the least.
What's wrong with the run? I would have taken. I mean, look, they're gonna go, and this is the thing that I don't understand. We talked about the guy who said Steve Wilkes. I think it's a decent, fair comment, by the way, in a way. Like, right, like, hey, there's something there that he sees. If you hire a guy, you believe in him. You give him some say a little bit, possibly. I also don't think that that's how you should run a team. I don't think that you should run a team. I think you should communicate, but I think that you should leave it up to guys that and I wonder, I don't know, Marco, maybe you have more insight, like how that decision-making process goes. I find it hard to believe that Adam Peters said, let's go get Jake Moody.
Mr. Bell says, why has Dawan Jones fallen so far? I heard there was some medical stuff. So I don't know how true that is.
I'm sure his size is also a thing.
Oh my.
Hey, fellas, I'm gonna head out.
Yeah, let me read these two. We'll all get out together. Tyler says, guys, do you want to know what is more frustrating about this? We all offseason have been trying to help out the quarterback, and you wasted it. Fire both. 2.0 says, Jesse, how many times were you annoyed that Gold couldn't put it in the end zone, and how many points would have been saved if he could? It's not just field goals.
Oh, good point.
How many points would have been saved from that? I don't know. You tell me. How many?
That's a great point.
No, it's not, David. Stop. That was good. That was good. Hey, 2.0. Here's the thing, man. Is like, I do love when a kicker can put it in the end zone, but that's like, I don't know. I guess I don't have a good analogy, but for me, it's like, okay, cool. Like, pretty much every
it's
kicker
like more
can
of an
put it in the end zone.
expectation rather than like something that you're like gnawing at. It's more frustrating when they can't, because you normally expect that that's just normal job.
When I come in from lunch every day, I get like a breakfast burrito at the co-op, and I'm going to the school, and there's this trash can with like a little hole that's like really small. So it's like it's a challenge, and every time I do a shoot, and I try. I love it when I make it in there.
Daryl Smock says, "What's up, fellas? I think the Niners did that because they don't have a 4th, and kickers usually stay going in the 4th. Am I wrong?" Well, Marco just kind of ran through it. Most of the top kickers in the league went where? 154 and later this year.
Earliest that one of them was drafted, 145 in the 5th round.
The top round? You're saying the top kicker in terms of what? The top 10 kickers in terms of what?
Accuracy.
The top 10 or top 25?
Top 23.
The top 23 kickers in the NFL in terms of accuracy. Let's hear that again. The earliest was pick what? 145 in the 5th round?
Yeah.
145 in the 5th round.
What's the latest? UDFA, obviously.
Oh, half of them were UDFS.
See, so and guys, I just looked up Harrison Butker because I thought they won the Super. I wanted to see a Super Bowl kicker, and I knew Jake Elliott was drafted. So like I was like, and by the way, Jake Elliott is the kicker for the Eagles, right?
Yeah, he is.
Yeah.
See, that's how much I don't even really remember that. Why? Because he's a kicker. Okay, and it's like Harrison Butker. His name has butt in it, and it's.
Did you tweet that out, Rohan?
I am
just
about
tweeted
to right now.
because he didn't. Sorry, Rohan. I stole your tweet, brother.
You're good. You can keep it.
Sorry.
So Daryl, good question. I wouldn't have known that. Rohan is doing wizardry over here, so good job on him. 2.0, by the way, gold was 84% last year. I don't think the drop off from gold will be that much. The point is to get better than gold, not have a slight drop off. Gold is like 40 and his leg was gone and he still was at 84% and still had a better percentage over 40 yards 2 years ago for sure. I don't know about last year by a wide margin 2 years ago than Jake Moody. And Jake Moody is a rookie who in college was at 82%. So now with the pressure cooker of being paid and being in the NFL, we expect him to be a big jump over Robbie Gould, who we didn't want anymore because he was getting old. But one thing we do know about Gould is he didn't miss in the playoffs when you needed it most. Are we going to get that from Moody, an 82% college kicker? I don't know about that.
Well, I think they need to hire Jim Harbaugh. He comes in, he does the Alex Smith routine. He gets in front of him, bumps his chest, boom, 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 chest pad, yeah, like let's go, let's pump him up.
Is of the top 10 kickers in accuracy, only 2 of them were drafted.
80% of the top
10 kickers in accuracy in 2022, only 2 kickers of that group were drafted.
McPherson was one of them.
No,
McPherson.
The 2 were Matt Gay. He was at 145, and then I forget the other one. I think Kaimi Fairbairn. I'm not
That's
too sure.
crazy. But the crazy part is what are and this goes into, do the 49ers think they're going to be efficient within 30 to the end zone? Do they think they're going to score touchdowns? Because if they don't think they're going to score touchdowns, great pick. If you think you have a quarterback who's going to be efficient, Brock Purdy, that's the quarterback, right, that they say that they want to start. If they don't think he's going to be efficient, great pick. If you think he's going to be efficient, that's a terrible pick. Why not get him another receiver? Why not go get him a weapon or a defensive lineman that could help prevent points? Like, to me, or defensive corner. Like, to me, it just doesn't make sense to go kicker. It just doesn't. And the crazy part is the first miss he has during the season, everyone's going to go crazy for it.
Robbie Gould at
Yeah,
84% was the 20th best kicker last year. 2.0.
So, guys, the thing about 40 to 49 kick in the 2022, okay, the percentage was, what did you say? He was 66%.
Yeah, above 40.
Okay, so in the NFL last year, I'm just looking. I don't see, like, I'm looking at the worst kicker last year.
You guys want to hear a great quote?
No, hold on, David. The worst kicker last year was?
The worst kicker last year from 40 was Chris Boswell from Pittsburgh, 40 to 49. That was 5 out of 10. The next worst after that was 7 for 11, Robbie Gould. Okay. Then you have 9 of 13, Evan McPherson, but he hit 5 of 5 from 50 plus. Then you've got Nick Folk, 10 of 14. Everybody else is like 9 for 11, 10 for 11, 10 for 13, perfect, 13 for 14. This guy was 66%, right? So you're telling me that if he's kicking 12 field goals, right, that's 8 of 12. But that's just from 40 to 49. We're not even including 50 plus, right? It's just like, it's not like you're not even hitting league average. And that's at the college level. He played at the big house. He played in huge games. Like,
okay, go ahead, Marco.
You guys want to hear the best quote of the night?
Yeah.
You guys got to be ready because you guys, this is serious. Kickers matter, says John Lynch on Jake Moody. When we felt there was one who separated from the rest, we became convicted.
He said convicted. Nice. That's awesome.
Oh God.
Tyler Cressley says,
did he really say that, or is that a tweet? Is that a tweet, or is he
Matt Barrows tweeted that, bro.
He said that John Lynch said that.
He said John,
because everybody was joking that John Lynch said the word convicted like 1,000 times in the press conference. Yeah. Get him a thesaurus. Get him a thesaurus. I beg of you.
Tyler Cressley says, and to add to that, you still have not touched any offensive linemen at all. Look at what the Eagles are doing. 2.0 says, I thought you said Gould should have been re-signed for a lot more. I didn't say that, actually. His field goal percentage average over the past 4 years was 81%. Not true. You just said his last 3 years. Hold on. You just said his last 3 years were 82, 87, and 84. How can he be at 81 per? So for the 1 year brought him all the way down to an 81%. What was he like 70% the year prior?
Does this guy come on usually?
The point is that Robbie Gould was at best in those years the 20th best kicker and worse. So you want to improve from Robbie Gould, especially when you're getting a young leg, not get worse or stay the same. You don't draft a kicker in the 3rd round to say, "Oh, I want the 20th best kicker in the league." No, you do that because you're hoping he's a top 10 kicker in the league. So he better not be Robbie Gould good at 40 years old. He better be top 10 kicker good.
And the other part of the equation, not only does he have to be good in the regular season, he's got to be good in the playoffs, because that's the one thing we had with Gould. And if you're drafting him this high, you're expecting him to be able to perform both in the regular season and in the playoffs.
Yeah, and I'm looking for Jake Moody's college stats, and it's tough for me to see on. Usually, Sports Reference has it better, but it doesn't like toggle his like. I don't know where you guys found the 40 to whatever, but
2.0 says 4 years ago he was at 74%, but that's not how percentages work. You would have to add all of his kicks up to find it. All you did was took his average and divided it by 4. That gets you 81%. That's not how averages work when you're doing kicks. You would have to take all of his kicks, divide it by all of his kicks made, and then do it that way. But anyways, I'm out. I digress. I got to take my dog to the restroom. Not exactly happy, but let me do some work on the tight end that we drafted. I do like the Jair Brown pick. I'll do some work on Latu. Let y'all know. Not necessarily the happiest with the kicker. Thank y'all for coming on. Appreciate y'all. Stay blessed. Later.